Hello, and welcome to another episode of Board Bag Studio, the podcast where I talk to snowboarders about their habits regarding fitness, health, and everything else. I'm Jesse Paul, and today I spoke with Joe Sexton in his living room in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been a big fan of Joe Sexton for a really long time. He's made a huge impact on the industry at large, and I'm sure he's inspired many other young kids just like me. He was a style icon and still is. He kind of started a movement of hitting huge, crazy, kinky rails, and he just has always been a unique individual and a really strong staple in the snowboard community. He was around at the epitome of the tight pants, wide stance era, which was very popular. And I wore jeans snowboarding almost every single day as a direct result of people like Joe Sexton. I wanted to look cool like those guys. And at one point, he even was wearing no gloves when it was negative temperatures in Minnesota, which I think he maybe is the only one who ever really made use of that, but it was just super inspiring to see somebody doing things differently. Even today, he's still marching to the beat of his own drum. He's started his own board company called Public, which has seemingly been going pretty well. He, with a group of other guys, has started this movement called 1817. You can't really call it a brand or a video, or it's kind of been all kinds of different things, especially with the newer things they have going on, which I won't say too much about because that is revealed in the interview. But basically, they're doing some community outreach stuff, and they're going to make a really big impact in the Twin Cities area and hopefully the larger community as well. But other than that, we talk about all kinds of different things. He tells me about a new diet he's been trying recently and supplements he's been taking. We talk about the traumatic brain injury that he had and rehabilitating his brain and some knee complications he's had in the past. And we chat about the changing nature of the snowboard industry these days and how his approach to snowboarding has changed over the years and what he wants to do to make an impact and just stay centered in his life. We even got into a little bit of yoga and meditation and exercise that he does to keep his body up to shape and how vastly different that is from when he was really young. And just kind of had a nice conversation. It lasted a long time and it was super natural. I had a great time talking with him, and he's a great dude. So enjoy as you listen along, and keep in mind that at the end of the podcast, I'm going to go over a few things that we cover in the interview in more detail. I am briefly going to cover a Bosu ball, gyrostim therapy, and acupuncture. So without further ado, give it up for the one and only Joe Sexton.
So that people know we're sipping green tea.
Yeah.
For the health aspect of this podcast.
Yeah. All right. What's going on, Joe?
Nothing much, Jesse.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Cool. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah, of course. I'm honored. I've looked up to you for a long time.
Thank you.
When I was growing up, definitely you were one of the dudes.
Thanks, dude. That means a lot.
Yeah, of course. So what have you been up to lately this preseason? Or I guess it's not even really preseason anymore, huh?
No, but it kind of feels like it's already kind of late in the year, like
yeah,
January
right?
Already, without really having
geez.
been on any trips or done
January.
anything like that. I remember usually we'd be going on trips like right before Christmas, and you'd be like filming mid-December, late November sometimes. So
Yeah.
I think the weather just kind of messed with some stuff and pushed some stuff back, but it's kind of cool. I've been focusing not more, but like it's been allowing me to focus more on like public, like the snowboard brand, and we're doing more stuff with 1817. And it's kind of forced me to just focus on that stuff and try to grow that stuff as much as I can. Still snowboard, obviously, but it's like when there's nothing to really do and a trip to go on, I'm like, all right, well, there's stuff I can do. To do. Yeah, there's something I could do around here. So
yeah. So do you have any specific plans this year for filming?
Not really specific plans. I'm pretty down to just go out with guys who want to go film. Like last year, we made that waiting room video.
Yeah,
and that came together. Thank you. That came together with like all of our guys' kind of leftover footage, and then I went on a couple L1 trips and filmed, like had a spark early season last year where we got a bunch of snow in the beginning of the year, and I would just go out with like Riley and Derek and like those dudes, like Bill Brandt, and we'd just go film.
Nice.
And I was like not even really sure what I was getting, but I was just like, I just want to be on my board and trying to get tricks. And because I knew like after SIA I was going to get busy with just like other stuff, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to film as many clips as I can before SIA, and then go on these L1 trips that I knew we were doing. Ended up doing like all right on the L1 trips and being like, dang, I kind of have a part. And then L1 was cool enough to let me use that footage that they like flew me to the trips on for L1. Yeah. And they like let me use that footage for public shit. So it was like really, really cool of them to help me out with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cause I don't think that's pretty rare. They're just like, dude, you want to use your footage for our company, for your movie, for your project? Like, yeah. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah. So big thanks to L1 for that. And this year's just kind of the same thing. I know we're doing some more L1 trips. I don't have as much pressure as I kind of used to put on myself to always be scrambling and grinding and trying to get on a trip. Like at this point, I still like, I filmed a clip like 2 weeks ago and I was like so happy. Yeah. So I'm glad I still have like that spark and what it gives me. And I'm 31 now, and it's like filmed like a lot of video parts, and just kind of like, I'm glad I still have like that little kid bug when I do get a trick, and like I'm with a bunch of like younger dudes, and it's just like I'm stoked to still be doing it, you know?
Yeah, you're probably boarding with dudes who are a decade younger than you now.
I think so. Some of them for sure. But they're like sick, and it's like I just want to be I'm inspired by them, because it's like that's how we were, you know? Like,
absolutely.
And so I'm just happy that people are continuing to film snowboarding and doing it in cool ways. Like we were with like Dan Peregrine and those dudes, and they're filming their IPP movie, and it's like these young up and coming dudes who are super good and like cool style, and you're just like, yes, like makes you feel like good about kind of the future of everything.
Yeah, I feel you. It's super cool to see. Just, I mean, it's like everybody comes out of nowhere almost. Like I feel like a couple years ago I was like, I wonder who like all the young kids are who are going to be coming up next, and then like 1 year it's just like there's a whole crew or like multiple crews, and you're like, wow, there it is.
For sure. Pretty sick. And they're not getting any worse at snowboarding. No. They're amazing. Like when I go to High Cascade, I just want to like pack it all in and just be like, you guys got it. But that is something I'm kind of happy about. And I'm admittedly a pretty competitive person. And so like when these kids were coming up before, I would get kind of competitive and almost take like a negative approach to it. Yeah. And now that it's probably a little bit of age and just where I'm at, and like, I'm just genuinely happy to see people who are doing well and are doing cool stuff and making snowboarding look cool. Like there's no more of this like competitiveness to it. It's like, I want those dudes to come up and do cool shit to make everything look cooler and help snowboarding progress, you know? Yeah. So I don't remember when it happened, but it was just a moment where I was like, I've just realized I'm not even like jealous of these dudes anymore. Like I used to be, and that's even looking back, like that sucked too. 'Cause it's just like, it doesn't help anything. Negativity doesn't fucking help you get to a better place. Yeah. You just like sit there and spin your tires on something and then, you know, try to make yourself feel better. But so knowing that and feeling like I am now, it's like snowboarding is a cooler place for me, because it's like I'll go out and snowboard and do some front boards, and it's like I don't feel the need to compete against the local kid at Highland. Yeah. He's better than me. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, dude. So, I feel I'm getting a little bit older. I'm 26 right now. Yeah. And even from when I was, early, like 20 or 21 or whatever, I would just always want to send it as hard as possible when I was riding at like resorts or at a park or whatever. And even these days I'm at a park and I'm just like, I could like try to do that, but I don't really feel like it. Like, I don't really feel like slamming at the park.
And now you're probably like, well, I'm going to Japan in a week. Like I can't really get hurt. And you just have all this other stuff in the back of your head of like, not like they're more important, but you're just like, yeah, if you got hurt, I've done that too. Like I got hurt like skating one time and couldn't go on a snowboard trip. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this stuff is just not smart, you know? Yeah. So me trying to do some crazy trick at Highland and getting smoked I'm not happy about that, you know? Yeah. So there's a fine line, but it is still really fun to go ride those resorts. And like, I still get my kicks just cruising around. It doesn't have to be the craziest tricks. It's like, you just get that feeling of the tricks you like to do. And that's enough, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And so I think that snowboarding is changing a lot right now. And how you're saying you don't really have any solid plans going into the year, but you're just going to try to film and
like I said, stuff. Yeah. Go on some trips. And like, I want to help our guys out. Like it'd be cool to do a public trip and try to film some stuff for that. Like, but I always said like, as long as I have this brand, like I always still want to film clips. Like, I got something to show. Like I like when it's on, like if we go on an L1 trip, like I'll be filming nonstop. It's just like the opportunities need to present themselves. Like it's like, okay, a trip and I got 7 days. It's like, I'm going to go as hard as I can because I don't know what, trade show I'll be at the next week, or I'm just not able to make it out and actually go film. Yeah. So, and you're also not really, you don't have a pressure from a board brand to be like always putting out the craziest parts. I'm gonna kick myself off.
Yeah, right.
No, but it's true, and that's what's cool is like I like that, but at the same time I did like the pressure. Yeah. Of kind of like filming for like
brings it out in you.
Dude, like filming for people and knowing the lineup and being like, you had people that were like, that was like something. It felt like people actually cared about what you were doing, and it made me like want to go and do it more, you know? And now it's on this like other thing where you're kind of doing it for yourself again, which is sick too. Like I'm out there filming with these dudes and it's just like, I want to get this trick because I just started hitting it and now I want to get the trick. Yeah, like I'm not really thinking about what I'm putting it to. Yeah. But then right after that, I was like talking to these kids. They're like, they got school the next day. I'm like, so we doing like a spot tomorrow morning? And like, like I just all fired up. Cause once it's like on, you're just like, okay, well, let's go to that one thing. And you just like, then it all comes back to you, you know? Yeah. So
it's hard to stop.
It's really hard to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. And so me too, for this year, I didn't know at all what I was going to do. Yeah. I was just kind of like, well, I guess I'm just going to try to film and see what happens. And
you're back from the injury too.
Yeah, so exactly. Like, and that's been crazy.
Yeah, because but good congrats on all your success with that, man. That's super inspiring to see. Like just knowing what you went through and knowing how hard injuries are and like seeing how you've come back and then some is like really impressive. So
thank you.
Good on you. That's sick.
I tried to do as much as I could to really come back strong. And
were you healthy before that, or did that kind of force you? Always were.
I've always been kind of into health and food and things like that, and just really aware of my body. And I've done yoga forever because my mom is a yoga instructor.
Oh, sick.
But this was definitely a little push because I had firsthand experience of building myself up from like ground zero for my leg to being now even stronger than I was before, which it's just crazy to see how you can change your body like that. And so I got
in a
really
pretty short amount of time
that side.
For you. Like how long was it?
Well, what's the date? Like the 3rd?
Today?
4th? Yeah.
2nd.
Okay. I broke it on January 6th. So it's been almost a year.
Okay.
Just about. But I started really feeling good around 8 months or so. Yeah. And then
that's impressive, dude. That was like how long a lot of knee surgeries take to heal, much less like 2 broken legs.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was one broken leg with 2 bones.
2 bones. Yeah. So 2 broken bones of the leg. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. But anyways, I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, so I started filming. Yeah. We went up to Duluth last weekend. Yeah. and I got my first clip since I got injured, and then I was just
Did you get a little teary-eyed?
Fired up. I didn't get teary-eyed. I was more like, all right, what's next? Like, let's hit a nice spot. I don't know.
But how much of a confidence booster too? Like, oh, my leg, it feels good. And
I jumped off a roof. Yeah, and it handled it.
That's the best feeling. Like, okay, all right, now I know it's on, and then you're like, you have to get that trick out of the way. Like, I remember like even coming back after hitting my head, like, dude, so scared, and like was wearing like this padded hat and like just trying all these things, and I was coming into it pretty hesitant, but it's like once you got that going, the confidence got going, you're like, all right, you're all good. So damn good for you, dude. I'm stoked. That's a big accomplishment, because that's a mental block. Like,
oh, it really is. To
even like you could sit there and do 1,000 leg presses and be like, my leg is so strong, but you could stand over something and all of a sudden your leg starts to feel kind of weak, or like, is it right? Like, and you start to like overanalyze how you're feeling. And like the biggest thing too, what I did when I blew my knee out, I almost blew my other knee out by like coming down on the stairs and like wrenching back on my back knee, trying to straighten my left one, like make it all safe.
It's like overcompensating.
And I remember all the dudes that were there were like, do that, don't do that. Like, you got to just ride down the stairs. Like, because I was like instantly like whatever, back 50 under the stairs, and then came off early into the stairs and like straightened my left leg out and wrenched on my back knee. And I was like to the point where I could have like hurt that one. It's just like so dumb. But that's how crazy your mind is. Like, you just like, even when I jump off stuff to this day, I land like right, left. Like, it's not ever like, I still have like such weird issues with it. Man,
that's crazy. Does it bother you, like the knee itself? Or is it just like,
I keep kind of rehurting it too. Like I like blew it out and I wear this knee brace, and then I'll tweak it skating, or it's just always kind of there. And like, that definitely sucks, but I know it's strong. Like, we've done the ACL tests on it a bunch and it's strong. It's just like a mental block where like, if I were to jump off something, it would just like, it's always gonna be in the back of my head. Like, I heard it this year filming for that thing in waiting room in Minnesota. Like, did this thing, built it shitty, felt the knee like wobble like to the right, and like my kneecap, and I'm like, there we go, I blew my knee out. Like, what an idiot. And then I went and got it checked out, and I was out for like a month, but I didn't blow it out. But it's like, I go do that, okay, but I'm back. You
kind of like stretched it or something?
I just stretched it, or my meniscus will like fold over, so it'll feel all stuck, and then they got to pull it out.
Oh, I don't know. That sounds horrible.
I got some awesome, through my brother. My brother's a hockey player.
Yeah.
I met these amazing like physical therapists that have like straight up like lengthened my career.
No way.
Yeah, Kevin Ziegler and Jim Olsen are these two guys who I met through my brother, and they're just like miracle workers. Like, I'll come to them broken and I'll walk out of there like feeling so much better.
That's crazy.
So it's pretty wild. And like, I never didn't believe in that stuff, but I remember even when I hurt my knee the first time, my brother was like, you got to see these therapists. They're amazing. And I went in there and I was like, nothing's going to happen. Like, my knee wouldn't straighten all the way to like the ground. So if I laid it flat, my kneecap was always off the ground. And they're like, what's up? Like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it won't do it. And then they're like, do it. And then it's like flat. And I'm like, how'd you do that? And they're like, all the scar tissue and all this stuff. So it's like, did they
use like a scraper or,
they
manual?
Pulled on it.
Like,
they just pulled on it and got things to move and things to loosen up. And then it would just like, over time, it would just go down. And so now it's like everything, shoulders and like ankles, like skating and all this stuff. They can just like, they do certain things and pop your hips and all this stuff lines up, and then you're like, I feel way better. Like, it's really cool. So now ever since then, I'm like such a believer in that stuff, and like, it may not work for everyone, but it definitely works for me. Yeah,
it's interesting. There's so many different interventions you can do for healing and just fixing your body. And it seems that things work really well for certain people and not so well for others. Like,
totally.
For me, foam rolling, it works wonders. Like, I wake up and my knee is sore, I roll it out, and I'm good to go for the whole day. But a lot of people that I've talked to, some people are just like, it just like doesn't really do much for me. And like,
I lay on it and it kind of hurts, but I don't really feel better. Like,
But I want to get more into the therapists and what exactly you were doing with them and stuff like that. But first, how did you hurt your knee?
Originally?
When was that? Yeah.
Oh my God. It was like, would 2008 make sense? Like, it was filming for Bad Ideas.
Oh,
do you remember that movie, Bad Ideas?
Yeah, of course.
And I was filming for the movie People. I was filming for the movie, it wasn't Cheers. It was the other one. Oh, it was, what was it? Jeez, I'm drawing a blank. Or maybe it was Down with People. That was it.
Oh, cool.
That was the movie.
Okay.
So I was filming for that, and I was home. It was probably over like a holiday break. I went with Jake O.E. and John Hodge, and Riley was filming, and it was like old times sparked again, you know? Like,
yeah.
I knew I was filming for this pretty major movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, I got to go with my buddies and try to get a clip for this Bad Ideas movie. Like, I was so jealous that they were all filming together and like this stuff, because I was my crew before I started filming with people, as I'd go out with Jake and Hodge all the time. So I remember I was wearing a fedora, and I wore skin tight black jeans with my favorite like red button up, and I was like no gloves, like long hair. Yeah. A Tasmanian devil shirt. Actually, that's what it was. Tasmanian devil t-shirt over like a red long sleeve.
Okay. And
I have like a fedora on. And we were all so obsessed with gear at that time that like even just that got me like excited to try to film a trick.
Dude, that was like the skinny pants, wide stance era.
Absolutely. That was the era. And I like back 50. It was that kink in Maple Grove, the one that you hit. There's Weaver two Lake? On each side. Weaver Lake.
Yeah, I was actually there today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were?
Yeah.
You did a trick?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Just kidding. You don't have to say over the air.
I did. I hit it in a different way.
No way.
A way that nobody's hit it before. So.
Is there enough snow up there?
Oh yeah, dude. Dang. Maple Grove has more snow than anywhere else in the cities right now. It's kind of weird. Like it's just around my parents' house, and like Weaver Lake and that whole zone is like
it must blow
6 inches or whatever. And then you come over to Minneapolis and there's
nothing. Yeah. That's what sucks. I look out my window, there's no snow, but then there is. Like we're gonna go to a spot in Crosby tomorrow. Me and Snakes and Craig. Nice. We're just like, and Tina's gonna film it, so it's like old school style. So that'll be pretty fun. But yeah, Weaver Lake, and then so I back 50'd the kink, and Hodge lip slid the kink, which was like pretty psycho back then. And then I remember I did a gap to Firecracker. I was like, that felt like Maddie Ryan. Like that was my guy, and I just like all those things back then would always be like, this feels like someone, so like I wanna. So then gap to Firecracker turned into I'm gonna ollie the whole set. Like Mikey LeBlanc or whoever, right?
Yeah.
0 snow, frozen beach.
No, like it's like rock hard
concrete. Like, and I was just so stoked that I like jumped into the Firecracker, immediately unstrapped. And I was like, pull me in, I'm gonna ollie it. Like, and no one thought to put snow. No, I didn't think to put snow. Like we were just like, I was that fired up. Riley was filming it. Those guys like fucking run like so fast, pull me in. And I think I just remember like instantly taking up, just flying past the whole set, like clearing it by like so much. Leg was like kind of straight onto the concrete. And just like, I had never even hurt my knee ever before. And I just like felt that weird twinge kind of.
Was it like a pop?
Like, shit, like I felt it. Well, here's what's so crazy about it. So I'm sure I blew it then. Yeah. But what happened was I went to like a restaurant after. I'm asking Riley, like, did I blow it out? And he's just telling me like what I want to hear. Like, no, you're good. Like, dude, you'd know if it's blown out. And I'm kind of walking, and I'm kind of this, and I go to my parents' house, and I'm like icing it, of course, like that's gonna do anything. And I get in the shower, like move it around. I'm like, I think I'm all right. It's just you're just putting a mental Band-Aid on what's actually going on. Like you know in your head that your knee is blown out. Yeah. And I'm just like trying to convince myself that I'm fine. But in the back of my head, I'm tripping because I'm like, I'm filming for people. Like it's December. Like I just lost I just blew my shot at filming a video part for this company just that I've like, looked up to forever. I was going to film with John Cooley and Jordan Mendenhall. And like, I was like starting to get really like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, these are my heroes of like forever. And I get to be in a video with them. Like, this is so crazy. So my parents want me to go to the doctor, and I go, and I'm so nervous that I'm like, it was super weird. Like I remember like my leg was super tense. Like he grabs my left knee, and I just instantly, I'm like knee jerk reaction is just like my leg just is like sturdy, you know? Huh. So he's like pulling on it, and he's like, relax your leg. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And he's just like, so because I was so tight, he couldn't get the like ACL test to move.
What?
So he's basically like, well, feels pretty good in there. Should be all good. Yeah. So I just like convinced myself, like, I guess I needed to hear that. And I just sort of like had this false all
doctor
clear.
Says it's okay.
And that was it. And then I went on the next trip. We went to like Quebec with people. And I think in the video part, you see it, like my knee shakes. Like that would happen every single spot.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I actually remember that. Totally.
Like, it just does this sometimes. Like,
yeah. And your leg is just like spasming.
Yeah. And so all the nerve endings were like
messed
up.
Is that after you like land really hard or just
it was anytime I landed with like an uphill, like a straight leg. So like anytime I even came off like a normal size handrail kind of straight, it would just like, it would twinge and I'd be like, here we go.
And then was it painful when it was doing that?
Yeah, super painful. So literally like my routine, like that red ledge, I did the backside 180 on the red ledge.
Yeah.
That routine, there was so much ice on the side. Every time I basically went off to the side and straight, it would like, it'd do that. I'd go to the bottom, stop. Wait,
you
like
just let it like wiggle out.
Wait 15 seconds. It would just start shaking. It would shake for like a minute. I'd take a huge glob of icy hot, rub it all over my leg, and pull like my little fake neoprene knee brace on.
Yeah.
And go up and like I'd maybe have like 5 or 10 more until it did it again.
Crazy.
And it was like that every single spot of the year.
Oh my God.
So it was just like, but I remember just being like, I'm not gonna like not film this part. Like I had to. And then so it's so funny because that happens literally all the time. Everyone's just so used to it at that time. Like, this is just what's happening every time. Like, it wasn't enough to where I was going to go. I could still function. I could still snowboard. I could still, it sucked like the process, but I was getting tricks, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so it was just like, I was just going to keep doing that until it was, you know, impossible to do anything. And then right in May, I go to the West Coast Invitational.
Yep.
And I remember distinctly riding Mammoth and being like, my knee's good. Like, I think I just healed it on its own. Like, from riding on it, maybe I just strengthened it or something clicked because my knee feels great. Mm-hmm. I literally remember having this thought, and the next run, I do a 5.0 on one of the park rails, and there's a huge uphill rut. I go 5.0, pop out, land super straight leg, and feel my entire kneecap just go all the way to the back of my leg.
Your kneecap?
My kneecap. Like I felt it like it was like hyperextended or like whichever way. Like not even hyperextended, like the other way. Your leg goes like that way.
Whoa.
So I felt like, and I'm just like, fuck. And I unstrap and start walking down, and people are like yelling at me from the lift. Like, I'm just like, and I didn't even know then but I was like, that feels a lot more real than what I did, I did in Maple Grove.
It like, actually, you felt it completely move.
And so this is pretty funny because JP had gotten hurt, I think like the day before on his shoulder. So then I was staying with JP, and we both had plans to go to like get our shit looked at the next day. Yeah. And I'm telling him like I'm icing it again, and I'm being like, I think I'm good. Like just the same song and dance. And I'll never forget, the doctor comes out. I went to a spot in California to get the MRI, and the doctor comes out, and he's just like basically laughing. He's like, this thing is so blown out. Like you blew your LCL, your PCL, your meniscus, your ACL. Oh my, no He's just like, it's supposed to look like this, and it's just like shattered. And I'm just like, well, I'm not skating. I'm not like, now I'm just going to have like such a shitty summer. And I was just like blown away. But then it was like, I asked him, he's like, yeah, I mean, this thing was for sure blown when you were riding this entire year. Yeah. Like it had to have been. And basically every one of those little twinges was like just more shit tearing pretty much.
Yeah. Like you maybe just did your ACL at first, but then since you didn't have that, maybe the other ones, jeez, dude, that's crazy. I mean, I'm sorry that he was laughing. I wouldn't.
Well, he was just like, because I think I asked him like, "Wow, is it Doc?" Like, and he's just like, "You're not skating. Like the thing's done." And I was like, jeez. All right. And then part of me was like, well, it's good to get it done. I'll have a summer, and then I'll come back and I'll film that.
And that was towards the end of the season, you said?
Yeah, I tore it in May. So it was like I got through the whole year and filmed that part, and then it was like,
wow, you did it.
Smooth sailing, and then it was like literally like a finish line. Like as soon as the video part was done, I just boom, like blew my knee out more, and it was like, I'm probably glad that happened. Otherwise, I would have gone into the next year with like just more icy hot and done it like that, you know? Yeah. But
so then the surgery, what all did you get stitched up, or what?
Then I went to Tria over here.
Tria?
Yeah, in Edina.
What is that?
It's like a hospital. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's like a good sports hospital, I think. Okay, cool. My dad had a family friend who was like one of the doctors there, and we just started the process. I was like, I didn't know what to do or what to expect, but I had to get ACL reconstruction. That was a whole new ACL, and then they had to like repair meniscuses and.
Was it a cadaver ACL or did they take
cadaver?
Crazy. Cool.
I remember thinking, because they were like, well, patella is like, you're healing 2 injuries. And I was like, I only want to heal 1 injury.
Yeah, I think it just seems strange to me that you would cut out half your patellar tendon to
but it's stranger to have a dead person's knee in your body, you know, like there's two sides to look at it. Like, so
you got that.
Yeah.
What other things?
It was like, I don't even remember, so long ago, but like obviously got a new ACL. I know they fixed like my meniscus, and then I don't know, the LCL and the PCL. I think some of those kind of just heal on their own.
Okay.
So they just kind of like put it back together, and then I just had to do rehab and get back to where I was. So.
And what was the rehab like?
It was funny because I was doing rehab in Minnesota, and I was like next to like these elderly people. And I was like, I gotta be like at the top of a handrail in 3-4 months. Like I can't be doing water weights with Irma over there. Like I can't do this. And so I remember kind of freaking out and being like, I need some actual
real training.
Yeah. And I was like, admittedly, like out of shape. I was probably skinny, but I was eating like garbage. I ate garbage. I was just I think I was like 21 or whatever. I was like eating crap and candy and not thinking it was having an effect on my body. Yeah. And it totally does, and did then. And then, so I was like, okay, I need to make a big change here. So I moved to Squamish, BC, because Sean Johnson, I was riding for Stepchild at the time. Mm-hmm. Sean Johnson was the owner of Stepchild. And he was like looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, you're barely doing rehab. Like, he's like, you got to get serious about this. Like, you got to get serious about your career and what you want to do. And so he actually convinced me, or just was like, I was so, whatever I had to do to be a pro snowboarder back then, I would have done it. Like, yeah. Oh, absolutely. He was like, you got to buy a truck and a sled, and you got to start investing in your future of snowboarding. And I was like, okay. And I just went and bought a truck and a sled. Wow. Instantly. And it was just like while you're still in the rehab process. Well, pretty much. I was like getting a little bit better. And he was like, why don't you come live with me and do this rehab with this Vancouver Canucks guy that's in Vancouver. Okay. And I was like sick, like and Simone Chamberlain was going to him. It was like this like real deal trainer. And I was like, okay, they're going to give me like the proper training so I can get back to like where I want to be. Yeah. And I had done like zero working out at the time, you know? So it was just like super new to it all. But yeah, I bought a truck and drove out there and was just like all in. Like I was like, okay, bought a truck. I'd go to this dude every day, hour and a half, Squamish to it wasn't even Vancouver. It was another city that was there, but it was like right by Vancouver. I'd work with him and I'd throw up every single time. Whoa. I remember drinking these smoothies that he told me to make, like with oats and berries, and you do these things. And every single day I'd drink one of those, drive the hour and a half, get about 40 minutes into the workout, and then puke. And I was like, this sucks.
He was working you hard. Yeah. So what else was in that? Do you recall? You said in some other things?
The shake? Yeah. Oh man, it was like oats, probably some peanut butter. Like it was just one of those like health shakes, you know, maybe some protein powder. Yeah, there might have been some protein powder, but it was like the oats. I remember because you could like almost not blend those enough, so you'd like chew them. Yeah, yeah. And I just remember like every morning I'd drive down there, hour and a half, like no idea what I'm doing with my life. Pretty much, I'm just like, I'm a snowboarder, but I'm living at this guy's house, and I'm just trying to get my knee better. And yeah, dude, it's kind of inspiring to hear how committed you like. You just like give up everything, get a truck, and fucking work hard. It was, and it was like all those things. It's so crazy because now I feel like I'm even like a little more calculated. But back then it was just like knee jerk. Like I want to be pro. This is what he wants me to do. I'm going to do it. Like probably didn't even look at like my bank account. Sean wants me to get a truck. I need to get a truck. Yeah. Like I want to be pro for Stepchild. I need to do what he says. Yeah. So I was doing everything that he told me to do.
Yeah. And so when you were getting your ass kicked, what kinds of exercises?
Just so much. Like, I remember it was all these hockey trainers, and they're like, those guys are beasts. Like, I'm not in shape. So honestly, like throwing myself under the bus, they weren't even hard workouts. It was like some Bosu ball stuff, some of this, some running, some cardio, and then I'd puke. Yeah. Like I was just that out of shape. And you can be that. You can do that if you're that out of shape. Yeah. So eventually I like got in better shape, and I was able to go snowboarding, and I would go to Mount Seymour, and they got me like a pass at Mount Seymour, and I could just go on like the weekdays when no one was around, like test my leg out.
And this was kind of getting into the fall?
This was getting into the fall. Yeah. So we were filming for that video. This video sucks for Stepchild. Yep. And that 32 project. And we were like, okay, like, you know, that's what I mean by it felt cool. Like there were people who like wanted me to get well so I could like be in the video. Yeah. Like I had just come off that Down with People part, and I remember Sean was like, we want to invest in you. Like we want you to do it. And I'm just like, okay, like so sparked. Like I was getting closer to becoming like a pro, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I'd go ride the park every day, you know, or like every other day, whenever after the workouts and stuff like that, as it got into fall. And then I just continued going to the trainer, and all that was just like a blur though. It was probably like 3 months of like pretty hard training and stuff. And then by the end of it, I wasn't puking. My knee felt good. And I was just like, damn, like, all right, I feel pretty strong going into the season. Yeah.
Did he have you on any other type of diet stuff?
Just, they tried, but even then, dude, I was so hard-headed. Like, I didn't care about even that back then. Like, I was just a little kid. I was like, I remember Sean invited me over to get on Stepchild. I met Simone at Camp of Champions. Sean, I'll never forget the story. He invites me over to his house to like chat about it, you know? And I'm all nervous, like, oh, this is crazy. And like, I was riding for Nitro at the time, and like, I just didn't know what anything really meant. I was like, I'm going to go over there and we're going to talk. And he brings over his girlfriend's there, Simone's there, and there's like a couple other of their friends, and they serve veggie lasagna. Yeah. And I like start eating lasagna. I pick out all the veggies. No and way. Just eat like the pasta. And they're like, Joe, what'd you think? I'm like, that was really good. And there's just a plate of vegetables on my, like a big mound of vegetables. Avoided them. I was like, that was really good. And they're just like, you didn't even eat the vegetables. That's how like clueless I was. I was just like, I thought probably pasta was healthy and like, I don't know, just clueless. But that's hilarious. They love that story because it was just like super good. Yeah, I love the veggie lasagna. I didn't have one vegetable. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. So what is your? Well, okay, I could go a couple different ways here. Yeah. Have you had any other? I mean, you've got your head injury. I definitely want to get into that. Sure. But I guess I was gonna ask what your diet is like these days, but we'll get to that because we're kind of on a topic here. It's kind of funny just to recall like old stories too. Yeah. Like, I haven't told some of these stories in so long, and like shit just comes back to me. I'm like, oh my god, like it's so crazy. Funny. Yeah. Yeah. So what other injuries have you had other than the head injury, or do you want to talk about the head injury first? Or yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, knock on wood, I haven't really had any bad ones. It was like a blown knee and rolled ankle. I think I broke some ribs one time. I mean, the head injury was like just the worst one by far. Yeah. Oh, that was so scary to see that whole process. And dude, I mean, it's amazing to see how well you're doing and like how quickly I mean, from the outside, it seemed like you got it all handled and you were back pretty quick. I mean, I'm sure it felt like a lifetime to you and just like a crazy experience. So I think like same idea. It was like I had a goal and I knew where I wanted to get back to. And it was just like I wasn't going to let anything get in my way again. You know, I felt like I was at that point in my career too where I was like, I wasn't ready to be done by any means yet. So it was like, and not like I am now. I'm not saying like, but I meant like back then it was just like, it was just a shit day. And I was like, I actually filmed that whole Mayday part like by January 25th. And that part that came out in Mayday, that was all up until I hit my head. Wow. So I was like on a kind of a roll and I was like, damn, this is like going really well. Yeah. So when that happened, it was just like, and I just remember feeling really on my board that year and just like being happy where I was at. So when it happened, I was just more pissed. Like, damn, I felt like I had more to give that year, you know? Yeah. And then, same thing, dude. It's just mindset was huge. Like I like really had to fight to stay positive with a lot of stuff. And I had to focus on my little victories as being big victories. Like, being able to sit up and not have the room spin, I had to look at that as like a victory, you know? Man. I had vertigo for like a month and a half. I was puking for like pretty much 2 weeks like straight because I would just like, you know, like the spins when you get wasted, like I would have that 24 hours a day. Oh. And I would like sit up and like it would just all spin and then I would like find a spot that kind of didn't make me throw up. And then if I moved just the littlest bit, the whole world would just do that thing and you just throw up. You don't have any food. You're just dry heaving and dude, it's miserable. Yeah. So, yeah. So, for those who don't know, you want to just tell the story of how it happened? Yeah, I guess it's like, I know you've probably told it a million times, but. Well, it's just like, there's not much to tell. I fucked up completely. Like we were hitting that rail at, Harding, like the double line. Yep. I remember Kuzik was filming his like Welcome to Vans thing that day. And I didn't even really have any intention of snowboarding. I actually like feel bad because I fucking ruined the whole day for Jake. It was like one of his last days to film for his project. And I was like, I'll go with you. And Fronius was hitting another spot. Remember we did that like back 50 and kind of dropped off the bridge? Yep. Yeah. So he did that day. Okay. And while he was doing that, it was like, Kuzik was kind of like, I want to get something. It's my last day. Like this thing's due basically like tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll go with you and help. And he started hitting it. And then I was like, well, I'll hit it with you. and then started to kind of think of a trick maybe. And I was trying to back 180 onto the first one.
Yep.
And then I was in my head, I was like, if it lines up, like, cause Kuzik was doing a double line. He was like lip sliding the first one, I think to fakie, and then he wanted to switch lip or something like that.
Okay.
I might be getting that completely wrong, but it was something along the lines of that. And then it was like, so he was working on his trick, and I was like, if I do back 180 and like come off the rail good, like it's set up, I'll try to like switch 50 the next one, or do it in a line would be pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, that would be insane.
So I like back 180'd it once, and kind of came off weird. And then it was just the classic thing where you just get too comfortable. Like I was like, I always did that trick kind of slow to like get up and over it, and then just kind of like stop and then kind of, you know, go down, not stop, but like slow enough to where you kind of reset.
Yeah.
And I think Jake had messed with the runway a little bit. Like I remember something happened where maybe he like took a pump bump out, or like whatever it was, like something was slower.
Yeah.
And that's all I really remember. Something was slower. And when I went to pop up, I couldn't get all the way around. So I ended up kind of like halfway, and then turned to switch front board.
And then just hit the kink.
When I turned to switch front board,
toes.
Yeah, it sucks because when I turned to switch front board, it's like that kink is so short. It's like a foot long. So when I hit it, I went to put my arms out. I think of what happened. I went to put my arms out, and there was no rail.
Gone. Yeah.
And if the rail's gone and your body weight's forward, you just end up missing the rail and going upside down.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't remember anything of like when it happened, but like watching the clip, it's like pretty obvious that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So I sploosh out of, and then like I go upside down. I land on like my shoulder and my head on the corner of the stair, and I kind of like unconsciously roll and fucking hit the other rail, and I'm just like smoked, you know?
Yeah.
And it was all just because, and I remember even saying, it's like I knew it. Like you just got to trust your gut. Like I knew I was going too slow. I should have just stopped, but I was like, whatever, fired up and thought that I had it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so I was there with Sam Fenton and Jake and Tanner Pendleton, and everyone was just, I've never been like that laid up before, to where I like open my eyes and they're like, don't move.
And you open your eyes there.
I think I came to when like the paramedics were like pulling up.
Okay.
So I was out for probably like, I don't know, kind of a while actually, I guess, now that I think about it. Luckily, like we were right by a hospital. So I think maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Something like that. But dude, like that's got to be so scary for them to just like full, like the eyes in the back of your head, like snoring thing. And I remember opening my eyes and seeing like the paramedics and Jake, and the look on their face was just like terror. I was like, what happened? Like, and I also remember thinking I was sledding. When I came to, I thought I would like grabbed a kid's sled off the hill. There was no kids there. But in my head, I remember thinking I was sledding, and I slipped out and hit my head somehow.
Strange.
And it was like, I was just going, this is so crazy. And then the paramedics started asking me questions. But I do distinctly remember too, like, this is like kind of not emotional, but it's gnarly. Like I was like, as long as I can hear these people and answer these questions, I'm not dead.
Wow.
And the thought of that was like really crazy.
That's horrifying.
Like as long as I can like keep my eyes open and I'm looking at this like light, I'm still alive. And that went on for like, you know, the entire time at the doctor's. Like I would like, I remember even like looking up, I don't think I've ever even said this now. This is fucking scary, but I looked up, my parents were there, and I asked them like, am I going to die? And they're just like, no, you're going to, like, everyone was just like, no, like try to calm me down. But it was just like, it felt like one of those things that's like, they're not telling me something. Like I'm actually really fucked up, but it felt like they're just not telling me how bad this really is.
Yeah.
And they weren't.
You felt like you were just holding on.
Totally holding on. It was the craziest feeling. Like, and at that moment, like nothing else mattered besides just like literally just like wanting to stay alive. It was like looking back on it now, it was like, it's so fucked up. Like not sure. Yeah. I mean, fuck snowboarding, like all that. I just was like, I don't know if I'm going to like make it past this. And even beyond like living, like maybe I can't, you know, like, I don't know what could happen. Cause then it was like, I was like going kind of in and out a little bit too.
Yeah.
So it was just wild. And then, yeah, that was just the craziest. Like I remember even Sam and Jake and those guys came to visit me like the 2 days later or something. And Jake's like, dude, I had no idea you were like this fucked up. Like I got the like thing, walking to the bathroom, like taking the world's slowest steps, like just not doing well. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, man, it was It was crazy. It was super eye-opening.
How long were you in the hospital?
I think it was like 6 days, 4 or 5 or 6 days, something like that. It was just like continuous of like, I couldn't do anything. I just would sleep. I'd move. I'd get vertigo. I'd throw up. And then as soon as I started to be able to like hold food down and stuff like that, they were able to send me home. Mm-hmm. And then I like chilled at my parents for a month. And like, I remember asking my dad, like, cause I was like swaying like a drunk kid, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you know, he didn't have the heart to tell me like that I was like swaying everywhere I went. Like, I'm getting better, right? And he's like, I mean, yeah, like, you know, a bit. And like, I was pinballing off walls.
Well, that must have been hard for them.
I think so. And yeah, it's just like, but it was also like, there's something weird that happens when something so serious like that happens. You just kind of snap into like survival mode.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I mean. Like, it wasn't even about like, at that point, I was just like, all right, like my whole family just snapped on deck. Like, all right, you're staying here. We got this. We're doing this. Like, you know, like they want you to like, that's what's cool about my family. We're not going to dwell on like, it happened. Like, okay, so now what? Like, let's get better. Like, let's fix this. And that was my mindset too. It was like, I wasn't going to sit there and dwell on the fact that I got hurt and like whatever news I got, I was just going to deal with and like get past it and like, and not even listen. It wouldn't have been real. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was just like, cause yeah, I didn't know. I was dizzy every day for a month and I was like, this could be my life.
Like
this could be just like how I'm feeling. Like I could be this dizzy forever. And that's what's kind of gnarly. Is
if I was dizzy every day for a month, I would definitely be like,
you don't know anymore. You're just like imagine that every morning. Okay, this morning's gonna be the one, and you wake up and you're just dizzy, and you're just like fighting to get out of bed, and it's just like. Did
you do anything to help with the dizziness, or I guess what were the methods of just rest?
Rest. That was it. And that's what sucked too. Is like I sucked at just doing nothing. Like I would have rather had it been like workout or like, because especially at that time I was getting more into that and I was like, I want to want to
do something to work on it.
There's
not really anything you can do.
I had to treat chilling like going to the gym. Yeah. Like I had to be in my head like knowing that, okay, just sitting here is actually the best thing I can do. So I just have to do this and be like regiment about sitting here doing nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was so crazy about the whole, like, I thought it was going to last forever because I lost my hearing in my right ear from it.
Yeah.
From the slam. Still to this day.
Wow.
And because like, I think like I broke like my cochlea, which is like what you basically use to hear. Uh-huh. And they told me your balance will come back and your hearing will come back. And I'm like sitting here waiting, like my balance was kind of getting better. My hearing never got better.
Yeah.
So what if it was the opposite? What if it was like perfectly hearing, but I'm dizzy every day? You know, like I got really lucky with
that's definitely the better side
with what I got out of it. Yeah.
From the beginning, could you hear out of your left ear? It was always just the right ear?
What do you mean?
I mean, you said like your hearing, was it just in the right ear that you could not hear from?
Yeah, that was it.
At any point.
Left ear was fine. Always because of where I hit my head.
Yeah.
I landed on like my right side. And that was what it was trippier. Like that's why I was having like motor function issues on like the right side. Like because I hit this side of my brain and it was just like so crazy to learn all this stuff. But
yeah.
Eventually I kind of got like the all good, like there was like, and then I cracked my skull during that. So that was actually a really positive thing because it alleviated the pressure.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of times when people who hit their head, they hit their head and there's
internal
all this built
brain
up pressure.
Bleeding and it's like,
yeah.
A lot of times they'll have to like get a hole drilled in their skull.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to do that.
It did it on its own.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So it cracked, the skull cracked and alleviated the pressure. And they were like, that's actually one of the most positive things out of this is like that they was able to do that. And now you can start the healing process, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about, were you able to read and watch TV and do things like that?
Yeah, I could. Like I was a little sensitive to light at first. And then eventually like I said, like I was pretty much bedridden without doing much for like a month, you know? Yeah. And then after a month you kind of start to calibrate a little bit. I remember sitting up in the morning, feeling less dizzy, being like, yes, okay. And then just like I said, little victories, like, all right. And then it's like, yeah, I could watch movies, I could read, I could do these things. And I was like, I felt like it happened really quick after that. Like once things got good, it was like, it just kept kind of getting better.
Yeah.
Then I'd do rehab. Then I'd stand on a Bosu ball. And then I'd be like, damn.
The rehab was just kind of like getting balance back.
Yeah, it was even like Wii, like doing stuff with a Nintendo Wii. Like trying to get my brain to like recalibrate.
Motor function stuff.
Motor functions and stuff. So
And did that take work? Did you feel like at first?
Dude, I felt like an idiot, and it was like frustrating because you know what you're like capable of before. Like, I can hit that green dot with this thing, and then you just can't with this or whatever, and you're just like so pissed because again, is this how it's always going to be? You know, but every time I saw a little progress, I'd get better, a little bit better with this, and then it was like standing on a Bosu ball, which is like awesome, and then Bosu ball with eyes closed, and just like literally learning how to like balance again. Yeah.
And so how did you, the mental aspect of that, I mean, that had to be super hard and maybe even like, I don't know. What did you do to stay positive throughout that?
It's so crazy because it's honestly like there wasn't a moment where I thought I was going to quit snowboarding. Yeah. Not even a flicker of a moment. Wow. It was all just based around getting good so I can go do this again.
That's sick.
Like I literally had, and I would tell you if I had any doubt, but it's like, I was just like, this happened, this sucks, I'm going to get better and it's going to be done, you know? And that's how I looked at it. I was just like, I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm going to do whatever the doctors tell me to get better and do it twice as much as they tell me to, or just just adamant about getting better.
Yeah. It's kind of a blessing that we have something like snowboarding that can really kick you into gear when you want to get back on your feet. I mean, for me my injury, like if I wasn't trying to get back so I could start snowboarding again, there's no way I would have pushed it that hard.
Exactly. And that's what's so sick about what we have. And that's why it's got to be even inspiring for you to even know you have that in yourself. Like how cool is that? Like something really gnarly happens and the first thing you think is like, fuck this, I'm not letting this stop me. Like if you had a cubicle job, you'd just be like, all right, tight, I'm going to cast and I'm whatever.
I get to just chill for the next month. And then as soon as I can walk around, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like
so I was really like stoked I had that in me. I just remember, like I always said, like these big picture things I'm just better at handling. Like I'll freak out more over like spilling my coffee on a drive than, you know, like it's the little things that get me all riled up. But like something big, it just forces you to look like inside and like your kind of true form comes out. Like I would have never thought that I would have like reacted that way, but I just fucking was literally like, it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter what news they tell me, like I know I'm gonna be back in snowboarding.
And that goes a long way. I mean, I think that if you have a lot of self-pity and you think that it's not going to get better, I think that really has a direct impact on the healing process. Like
it totally does. And like, you know, even just, you know, reading little things about how positive that stuff is, it's like your body doesn't really know a difference. If you can convince yourself that you're in a good mood, then you can like be in a good mood pretty much, you know, and it's harder, easier said than done a lot of times. But with that kind of thing, it was like, I just didn't want to have any doubt, any time where I was like dwelling on what was going on or any pity, you know? Yeah. Even people be like, how's your head? I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. I'm feeling better. I'm good. Like, I'll be good soon. Like, you know, like I wasn't going to sit here and be like, man, I don't know.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah.
Cool. And then getting back to snowboarding, things like that. What was that process like?
I mean, that was a hard one. That was the same thing. It was like the rehab was all cool. And I remember like, I rode with a helmet for the first couple, I think months. I rode Buck Hill and I rode with a helmet and I just like turned on groomers and just.
Did everything come back pretty easy?
Kind of, but it was like a mental thing. It was like,
had to work it up.
Yeah. And I just didn't want to like fall and bunk my head, and I just didn't want to like, I wanted to have a couple days where I was like just getting my kicks but not doing anything like too crazy, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So I did that, and then I just would work up to it. Like I was like, okay, like I did this, and then I do like a flat ground back 180 and I'd be a little dizzy, like, oh, okay, like maybe don't do those yet, you know, and work up to all this stuff. But even looking down, you know, you're snowboarding, look down and up, like that would be like enough to like make it feel like vertigo. And I was like, this is like not ideal, you know, but over time it just, my body got used to, I think, just snowboarding again and kind of recalibrated to like the new normal of what it was, you know? But and then it was hard to like go to that, to like film a video part again. Cause then that next year was 2032 for the 32 video.
That's a big one.
And I was like, okay, this is my main sponsor. Like, damn, this is like, and I was hoping that I didn't want to like give them any excuse to think I wasn't like capable of filming a part, you know? So I think I also kind of told people that like maybe I'm doing better than I really am. Like if Cook called or something, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm feeling great. Yeah. When really I probably didn't have that great of a day, you know? So I didn't want anyone to like worry about if I was capable of filming a part or not.
I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
When people would ask me about my leg when I started to snowboard again, I was like, it's feeling good. But feels really, good. It was, I mean, every single bump, I was like, this is not okay. Yeah. But I'm going to just push through.
Exactly. And like, you're like, it's going to be good. Yeah. But you're just like, don't want to alert suspicion. Right exactly. Now, Because then they start to question like, I don't know. I just didn't want them to question like if my rehab or like if I should be doing it or like, I don't know. I just think it was easier just saying, I'm feeling good, you know?
And I mean, that's a can of worms. Like sometimes you're just, like,
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Well, what's wrong? And then all of a sudden you got doctor friend who's like, is it your fibulas a little bit? You're like, okay.
For sure.
Yeah. But, I had some really awesome friends and really so much support during the whole thing that, you know, my dad and my mom were amazing during all that. So that was like, it really helped to have just positivity around you, you know?
Yeah.
No one was dwelling on what was going on. It was just like, I was talking to Meyer about the trips they were on and he was giving me updates about dudes filming and just trying to keep me stoked and you know, on my own, just thinking about getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I was laid up, it was when I was the most invested in snowboard edits.
Right?
I'd watch them and like, especially if they're my friends, I'd be like, oh, you guys did so good.
Yeah.
And it was so sick.
And then and then you got all the times that you're texting them. Yeah. They don't text you back right away. You're like, I get it. You guys are busy. It's okay. When you get time, I'll be here. Like, let me know.
Yeah.
But that would kind of kill me because I'd be like, oh, they're at that spot. Like, oh, it looks so good. Like there's so much snow. Like, stuff like that. But again, it's like, I don't know, sort of that like when you don't have it for a while and it makes you really appreciate what we have, you know?
Absolutely.
I feel so fortunate to even like have this hobby that was a job, you know, like it's just crazy what we get to do.
Yeah.
And when you go through something like that, it makes you realize it and it really, really makes you very grateful for what we have.
Yeah, definitely. When I was filming last weekend in Duluth, I had a smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, wow, we're doing it. Like here we are again. Like, I love this.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if it comes with age. I mean, you're pretty enlightened yourself. So it's like when you kind of learn that kind of shit, you're like, man, I'll still get mad trying a trick because I'm passionate about trying to get it.
Of course.
But I just like the big picture is like, this is a joke. Like I've been able to do this for 10 years, like ride a toy. On snow and get paid and be with my friends. Crazy. Like, it's just like, you could never have imagined it.
No.
You know, and it's just like, so extremely fortunate and all that stuff just puts into perspective. Cause then you're just like, I'm hurt, but I had such a sick run. And like, you know, I had plenty of years of doing this. Like, not like if this ends, whatever, but it's more just like, you're just like, okay, like grateful for what it's given you before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, those friends don't go away either.
No, dude. And that you see, you know, a lot of true friends who are, you know, actually care about you.
Yeah.
Want to make sure you're truly doing good. So,
yeah. So I want to reel it back to those physical therapists that you work with. You said like whenever you hurt your ankle skating or do anything like that. So is this seeing them is kind of a regular therapy thing for you? Yeah,
it's turning into it. Like it's more just every time I kind of come back from a trip and kind of banged up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of them is called Motion Care, which is in Shoreview, and that's Jim Olson. And like, he's amazing. He did stuff for the special like the physically handicapped Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did that. And he worked with them and he works with like a lot of hockey guys. Like you go in there and it's all these like pro hockey player jerseys and it's like cool stuff like that. And he worked in like Seoul or something like on the Olympic stuff, which is all really cool. And then I met him through Kevin Ziegler, who was at Velocity Hockey. So again, all these guys are through my brother. They're just like, it started out with me literally dragging my feet. Like, I'll meet him, but like nothing's going to happen. And then now I see them more than my brother. And they're like, I'm probably like better friends with them than my brother.
Crazy.
So, and yeah, they just, I think now like we have a good relationship. I think like he knows my knee and like I'll call him after like skating and slamming. Be like, I blew my knee out. He's like, stop. You didn't blow your knee out. Like he's got to like talk me off the ledge. And then they just go in and they do, it's like functional neurology and functional, what do you call it? Like just, they do a lot of like the adjusting, but nothing like, it's all like more gentle. Like they just move things and get things to move the right way and like, and line up again. And you can be like, my ankle's kind of hurt. Well, it's not really your ankle. It's your knees a little off and your hips are a little off and your shoulders are a little off. And then now you're all kind of fixed and then you feel better. So it's like, I've had a lot of people who are like, that doesn't sound like it works. I'm like, just try it. And then they go and they're like, man, that really helped.
It's pretty crazy what body workers can do.
It's wild. I forget the name because motion care, it has a word for it.
The type of therapy?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe let's take a pause here for a sec.
Yeah, we'll take a pause.
Yeah, so they do like, it's like functional stuff. It's not, they're not cracking your back. They're like fixing the stuff around it.
Yeah, but so do they really do like chiropractic adjustments as well?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, he'll crack my back and things like that. But the ones that I notice the most is like, you know, he'll grab your neck and your neck will only turn to here, and then he'll pop a couple things in like back here, like by
maybe
your spine,
do a little bit of deep tissue,
a little bit of that, and then it's like all of a sudden you can move your head way more. Yeah, and I mean they just do kind of like a whole body thing. Like when I go in there with a hurt ailment, they usually fix something else, and then that thing feels better. Yeah, like it's pretty wild. So yeah, I'd say now definitely going like once a month for sure.
Cool.
And I'll go in the summer because it's skating, and now it's just kind of like a little bit of a ritual, you know? Like,
yeah, it kind of just gets you.
They're just like tune-ups. You're just like, I mean,
totally.
Every time you even take a slam at Highland or something, you're going to maybe knock something a little bit off. So it's good to kind of, and now I can get to the point where I can feel it. My back starts getting sore. I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's time for a little tune-up, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of different types of body work, and I had this chiropractor here that I really liked, and even when I'm riding Elm or Highland or something like that, and I'd fall in a weird way, my hips are pretty prone to like kind of getting out of place. Yeah. And so I would just know, I'd be like, oh, that's not right. Like I need to get an adjustment. And
then you do, and you know you're going to feel better. So you just go and make the effort to go do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's when I liked him, but it was just pretty much strictly chiropractic, you know, pop me up and then good to go. And then I learned a little bit more and had some other different types of body work, and have found for me that it definitely, the combination of that with a little bit of like fascial manipulation, deep tissue massage, and really, you know, tackling it specifically. Yeah. Like multiple systems instead of just getting your spine straight, because it seems like that doesn't last as long.
I don't think it does last as long, and every like daily life just throws it off, you know. But the way they put it to me, which makes sense, he's like, when you get like just a massage like at a general place, he's like, they're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on the issue. Yeah. And if they go in and they move some stuff, they're getting to like the root of the problem. So a sore shoulder, you can mess with the muscle around it, but there's probably an underlying something that's stretched and whatever. And if you can kind of work that and loosen that up, that'll feel better. Is how it works for me too. And it's like, I know some people get massages and they feel great. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of, it's whatever works for you. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten acupuncture or anything?
Yeah, I did acupuncture on my knee.
Oh, nice.
When I was doing, it wasn't even knee, not the original knee rehab, just like I tweaked it another time and then I did it. I didn't feel like that worked at all. Really? I don't know. It's just like, I did that and I did like the electric shock one, like all like the like that. And I was down to try anything, but I just like, I feel like, it took a month and it maybe wouldn't have healed on its own, but I just felt like that stuff wasn't really like a big difference. I don't know. Yeah. Did you like it?
I did, actually. To me, it was almost the most immediate relief that I've ever had from some kind of intervention like that. Crazy. But only in specific ways. Like, I would have this weird pain in my knee and sometimes in my ankle when I was, you know, trying to rehab and things like that. Yeah. And it was just something that I couldn't get away, couldn't like roll it out or massage it, and it would still be there. But then something about like I'd get those needles in and she would hit this point, you know, they like hit the point that your muscle kind of jerks. Yeah. And she's like, oh, got it. And then I would stand up and be walking around and it was just completely gone.
But what are they doing? Are they actually poking the muscle?
So they poke it's like, I think they hit something
like, how do they know where to put the needles? Like the guy's got like 10 needles in my knee. And I'm like, do you even know where you're like, why you're doing this many? Or like, what would be the point of that?
I think it has something to do
because it is very like they know where they're putting it. But
yeah,
like,
they're aiming for something.
Yeah, but they're missing a lot. I think.
I mean, yeah, they kind of. It seems like they kind of have to dig in there a little bit until they get it, which is it's definitely a weird. Like it's not super relaxing for me. Like,
no,
I don't like having the needles in me. No. But afterwards, I usually feel pretty good. But that has only been. I haven't gone back since I've healed, so it that pretty
was for
much
your leg.
Yeah.
Oh, you did it for your leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because, well, actually, I think the reason that it helped me so much was I didn't even get needles around the fracture site at all. But it was the way she explained it to me is that it kind of wakes up some of the muscles that have gone dormant when you create these patterns in your muscles where, you know, my leg was basically shut off for a long time. And then when I started walking again, I was kind of walking weird. So certain muscles weren't firing and stuff. And so hitting those points, it's like making the muscle fire, and it's like a reset button is what she said. Crazy. And so then when I would walk around after getting the needles in, it was like all the muscles were working in sync and everything was kind of like linked up. Wow. At least in the, you know.
Yeah, like she hits one thing and it just turns on, and then
you're like super, all of a sudden, like, super strange. The muscle's like, oh yeah, I got to do this.
Which makes sense, I guess. Like if you just something was sleeping and you poked it with something, it would wake up. But it's just like, when I see how many are in my knee, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Yeah. And it's also just like micro trauma.
Yeah.
Which, for one thing, I mean, especially with getting a lot of different needles in and maybe not every single one of those is hitting a point.
Right.
It just causes your body to be like, hey, something's happening here. And it can, you know, send blood and nutrients or whatever to that area.
That makes sense. I believe in all that stuff.
But for me, it was totally like, because I tried everything and I was trying everything. And it worked to some extent, but it was, I'm not getting it regularly or anything like that.
Yeah. But. Dude, I try. I mean, I'm on such a rabbit hole now with like all that stuff, even if it's like supplements or all this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, I'll try anything at this point.
Yeah. What are you trying these days?
I did gyrostim therapy.
Gyrostim?
did. Yeah.
What is that?
I was basically in NASA chair that flips around. Like it was like the idea was to like, I have a video I could show you. It's crazy. It was like I was in a chair and they just have you with these laser pointers and then you spin and twist and flip for like 30 seconds trying to hit these targets the whole time.
Oh wow.
And it's supposed to like, this is kind of crazy because it's supposed to kind of fuck you up. Like you're supposed to be a little dizzy.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think you're supposed to be dizzy for like a month and a half like I was. So they kind of like overdid it.
Oh, after you did it, you were
like
dizzy.
I did it, and it was 5 days straight, 3 times a day.
Whoa! And was this an intervention for your concussion?
So this kind of had to deal with like after my concussion, I had like anxiety issues and like post concussion symptoms that I've dealt with like ever since then.
Yeah,
and I've always been just trying to figure out how to help with those.
Yeah,
anything. I'm not going to do medication. I don't want to do medication. Mm-hmm. So I'm literally looking at every like possible like option that way.
Yeah.
So this was one of them. My brother like knew the guy, of course, and did it, and it really ended up being really helpful. Like nowadays I'm feeling really good, and I don't know if it's because of that, but I think it could be because of that.
Yeah.
It just took a lot longer to recalibrate than kind of they thought, than I thought. And I was starting to get a little bit really worried about did I just do this? Did I just set myself back like crazy because I chose to get into this machine? And luckily that wasn't the case. Like it got better, my brain recalibrated, but I was texting the doctor like every day being like, basically like, what did you do to me? Oh man. And yeah, that was like, so I've done gyrostim. I've done, now I'm doing these like, I mean, obviously just like supplements, like fish oils and things like that.
What other supplements?
I could look at the thing, but it's like, here, I'll look.
Let's check it out.
I'll show you my little med pack thing. Some of this stuff I think is, so like mono pure, a lot of it's to like detox is like what I'm trying to get to and stay away from like anti-inflammatory stuff. That's what I'm trying not stay away. I'm trying to take anti-inflammatory stuff.
I was like, you don't want anti-inflammatory?
So this is OptiCleanse.
Huh.
My friend works for this company called Zymogen, and they just make all this stuff, and like it's all like, I don't know, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, but it's like, just look at what's in there.
Yeah,
it's
let's
just
check
like
it out.
Tons of stuff.
So this this is something you would throw in a smoothie?
In a smoothie, yeah. I put that in a smoothie, and I take these, like, this cool little pack of, like, pills. It's like fish oils and, like, magnesium, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like pea protein concentrate, pea protein isolate, taurine glycine, rice protein concentrate, and L-glutamine. Mm-hmm. And we've got some other random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
But for the most part, it's kind of like a meal substitute. It's like what I take in the morning, and then I can I get like all my kind of stuff in me, you know?
Yeah. Cool.
So that's like, yeah. And it's like,
and then
I need it to be that easy. There's that one. Cool. I just have it all like set up so it's like, all right, I just have this all, I pour it all into a shake, I blend it. Yeah.
It's got your name on it.
Yeah, crazy.
What is this one from?
That's from Zymogen too, and they just like were cool enough to
it looks like
make like these little med packs of like all my stuff in there as one thing.
Cool.
And then these are the other ones. Like this is like a workout one.
Man, it doesn't even really say what's in here, but
I have like a breakdown from like the nutritionist who gave it to me.
Yeah, it definitely looks like you got a fish oil in there. It looks like that might be turmeric.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, there's turmeric in there.
And then another kind of oil.
Yeah.
Some other stuff. But yeah, definitely. That's cool.
Basically, she's
tendon
just like,
and ligament stuff.
Yeah. Like she made this like awesome pack for like, she knows her kids are snowboarders.
Man, and this is great.
Yeah. It's like, it's awesome. So it was like, it was cool that she, you know, now we're like friends. So she knows about like these anxiety issues and all these kind of things. So she's like, we're trying to get you to not have inflammation and all these things to help calm you down and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then you've got some exogenous ketones for promoting ketosis.
Yeah.
Do you know much about ketosis?
I'm like learning, and I'm getting into like a light version of it.
Light keto diet?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
And I started that January 1st.
Nice. We just New Year's resolution.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's like me and my girlfriend are doing it, and I'm just like hitting her up all the time. Like, can I eat this? Can I eat this? And like, because there's some stuff where you're like, oh, I should eat that, but no, you can't. You know? It's not just bread. It's like a lot of other things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it started with no beer, no bread, January. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to go fully into ketosis because I heard you can like get sick or something if you do it right, but you feel worse if you do it. Well,
actually, I mean, being in ketosis is, I think it's like a pretty good thing and you feel pretty good and strong, but that you have to be like fasted. So, I mean, I don't know if you're implementing like a fasting routine.
Like intermittent fasting?
Yeah.
No.
Or just like...
I mean, right now.
at least I think you... I don't think I'm learning more about it now.
I don't think it's as simple as like, I just ate this piece of lettuce and I'm in ketosis now. Like, I don't think it goes like that. Like, it has to be different for sure. But I think if I stick to it, it'll be cool to try it. But then they say like, if you get knocked out, it takes like 2 days to get back in. And so it's like... Yeah, it's something like... Well, so the idea of being keto is instead of burning carbs, you burn fat.
Instead of burning, not even just carbs, but sugar. Or what's that called? Why am I blanking?
Glucose.
Yeah. Jeez. Nice. Instead of burning glucose, you burn fat,
right?
Which is kind of, it's good because we have all this stored fat, and that's the reason we store fat is to burn it later. But when we're always eating, especially always eating carbs and things like that, you build up this huge storage of glucose and you just use that for energy. And so getting on a ketogenic diet at first and like getting into ketosis definitely is a little strange for your body, and it takes a while for it to get used to, but obviously it works really well for some people. Like I was talking to Chris and he went keto for like a month. He said it's the best he's ever felt.
Well, everyone talks about the energy levels and they're like, dude, I barely eat anything and I have so much energy, and they're like, none of these crashes, and I'm just like, I want that. Like, so is it new though? Is it a fad one? Because there's paleo. I mean, it's definitely right now. It's a pretty popular. It's kind of like the one fix, like this is the diet, but really, don't those come and go like all the time though? Yeah, but this has also been around for a long time. The thing is that I've been learning recently more about is biovariability and the fact that
there is no diet for one person. And
right.
Even being keto is, even though a lot of people, you'll hear from a lot of people that it's amazing and it's like the best thing you can do, you're going to feel great. Well, there actually is, I don't know the percentage, but there's a certain percentage of the population based on your ancestry and genetics and stuff that a keto diet is definitely not good for you.
Damn.
But it's you know, I can send you a podcast. It's really interesting. This guy I listen to a lot.
I'm down.
And there's all these tests that you can do on yourself to figure out your genetics and figure out what things are good for you. Like for some people, having a high fat, low carb diet, it just doesn't really work well for their body. And then and they actually would do better on a high carb, low fat, which, you know, that was the fad of our parents, is like, oh, low fat, like don't eat fat. And keto is like eat all fat. So it's
that's
like kind of crazy how
like
different
piling
it is.
on sour cream, somehow it's good for you. I'm like, this is so backwards. Like from what I learned, this is just not the same. So
I mean, it's always diet stuff is just, you never really know. Like,
well, even like I got my blood drawn and I got some facts out of it, but I didn't get like a nice like guideline of how to, like, you know what I mean? Like I was hoping to get like, eat these foods, you'll feel great. Stay away from these, you'll feel, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it was all like, oh, you have this percentage of an allergic thing to this. And it's like, well, so if I eat eggs, you know, I don't feel bad, but it's like there's like a tiny bit of allergen in there for me. So it's like
interesting.
Yeah, it's really it's like I got all the blood work done, but I didn't see that which one would be better for me, you know?
Yeah.
But I do know that like if I have a big bunch of bread, like I get tired.
Yeah.
And it's like I think probably most people do.
Yeah, I don't know if a bunch of bread is good for most people. But
I'm just going to try it because I want to see. I mean,
you'll know how it feels. Yeah. And if you feel great, then yeah.
I mean, even like it's been 2 days, but it's like I feel good.
Yeah.
But it's cool to be, it's trying to be something that I can like I can be another thing I can kind of just obsess about. Like I can try to do this, and then it's like I'm going to get really obsessed with it, you know?
Yeah.
And we have a bet going, so it's like whoever loses has to like buy a trip or something like that. So it's like now there's more on the line. So now I'm definitely not losing.
But so are you going no sugar as well?
Yeah.
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 I think that's like one of the...
But what's no sugar? Like, and then that pissed me off because they're like, no smoothies. I can't have fruit now. Is that true?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I think you're like, there's a couple fruits you can eat.
They said maybe strawberries or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly which ones, but there's a couple. But I know that a lot of fruits are off the table.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, in a smoothie, fruit really just turns... It's just sugar. Yeah. Which is why I always try to have more greens or vegetables than, you know, I'll do like 1 or 2 fruits in there, but
that's cool.
Not too much.
Yeah. And then I saw, so like this morning I had like steak and eggs. That's what I had.
I know. That's the crazy thing is
you just like the craziest like diet, but I'm just like, how is this good for you? This is so crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had like I got like I got an unwich, you know, like the Jimmy John sandwich, but wrapped in lettuce.
Yep.
So it's like, there's options.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's maybe even easier than being vegan.
Yeah, probably.
Especially with traveling and things like that.
Vegan is like just an animal product in general, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's a lot of things.
Yeah. I did.
Are you vegan?
I was for like a year and a half though.
So do you eat meat now?
I mean, people who are listening, I've talked about this a bunch of times, but I'm in kind of a funny, weird spot because I started eating a little bit of meat and eggs and things like that to help heal my leg because I needed the extra protein. I needed as much protein as possible.
Did it help?
It seemed to help for sure.
Crazy.
100%. But it was crazy because I went from eating nothing to eating actually kind of a lot, at least during the healing process. And now and just like with all the stuff I'm learning about nutrition and I'm just kind of trying to figure it out for myself. And I've come to this point where I eat mostly vegan, but I am eating eggs right now. And every once in a while I have some organic free range chicken and just like really making, you know, if I'm going to eat meat, it's not just going to be just from wherever, you know, I just want to know where it's coming from, things like that. But
that's,
you know,
so hard with traveling though too. When all the boys are going to McDonald's,
I know,
you know, you're just like,
it's kind of annoying, but you know, so
I just
I'm always learning and always kind of tweaking and trying to just eat healthy. You know?
That's what's cool is like, you don't have to be married to one thing. You can mix it up and try other things. And, you know, like, I just think like just being aware is half the battle. Like just knowing and just having that thought cross your mind. Like I said, when I was like super young, it was like candy, Coke, like Coca-Cola, Big Macs. And like the worst things you could eat is what I was eating at that time.
Yeah.
And thinking, not even thinking about health. Just being like, this tastes good. Like,
yeah, you're like, you eat it, and
like,
now I'm full, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Like
it tastes good.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, I think everybody's like that when they're young.
Yeah, but now to go this way, and now I got this fucking box of supplements and all this shit.
Yeah,
it's like
wild.
It's just like, I think that's what you have to do, and that's another way of just investing in what if I want to snowboard longer. And this is what I have to do, and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Especially as you get older and stuff. I mean, that's when it's really going to make the biggest impact.
Yeah, and I never wanted to, like, my dad even told me, he's like, we had to bite our tongue so much. Like, you were so bad. Your diet was shit. You wouldn't listen to anybody. Like, he's like, we were worried about how you were going to actually end up. Like, they thought it was going to maybe even be, like, diabetic. Like, I was eating so much candy and shit.
Yeah.
And so even him is like, he's like, it's crazy to see what you've done. Because I had to figure it out on my own. I was like, all right, well, if I eat like this, I feel like shit. I want to snowboard longer. It's not cool to eat fast food. Like, it's gross, you know?
Yeah, no, it's in multiple ways.
Yeah, and so I'm like, all right, well, I want to try to figure out how to be better.
Yeah. I also think it's cool, like, right now, it's totally acceptable to be into health and to be healthy and eat healthy. Like,
well, it's a kind of a trend in itself,
cool.
But like, who cares? It's a really positive trend.
I know.
You know.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't care that people are talking about health. It's cool. You can have conversations with, you know, people in their 20s and they're talking to you about diets and shit. It's like, it's a different world, but it's cool that people have kind of opened their eyes to it as well. Like you said, like the food pyramid was basically backwards from when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like when my parents were kids, it was like, what was it? Carbs were at the top.
Or well, at the bottom.
At the bottom, you wanted all these.
Most.
Yeah, and I remember even hearing like, you got to eat this bread. Like bread's good for you, and just like.
Yeah, and then wasn't it
milk
like,
or like
wasn't sugar like at the top? Sugar was in there.
And I heard that the sugar industry paid off.
Oh, I believe it.
The like food and health or whatever to like show it's not actually as bad as you guys say it is. And so that's really crazy that something like
sugar
that can happen.
Has had a huge like everything from soft drink companies and everything like that. Like I think sugar has been the most like suppressed under the table, like don't let people know about it. Because I mean, that's why there's not when you look at a label and it says how much sugar it has, but it doesn't have the daily percentage.
Yeah.
Because it's like
it would be 300
it would be
times
absurd.
That.
It'd be off the walls. Yeah. But that's not, if you look at a can of soda and it's like, 300, 400 times your daily amount, people are going to be like, oh, what?
I'm not drinking this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's another thing that like those big companies have paid off to not have that as even though I don't even know what the percentage would be. I don't know if
they just do a good job of hiding it. It's masked in there with some stuff and there's a bit of sugar, but hey, whatever. Like it looks cool. It's good.
Yeah, and
like,
everything's got sugar. That might be the hardest thing for being keto. And like a lot of drinks are off the table.
Yeah. You can't have like any juice or anything like that. Like I like green tea and that's cool, but
you can have like honey, right? Maybe
I think
stevia.
so. I don't know.
I think so.
I Google like so much shit, like, and everything. It's so funny you said it's a trend because it'll be, can you eat cucumbers? And it's just on a keto diet. And I'm like, everyone's fucking asking this for sure.
For sure. That's hilarious, man.
But yeah, I think like, I don't know. It's more just like being aware of it all, I guess. And, but I don't know where I was going with that one.
Well, I think that's super cool that you're trying that out. Did you have any other, before you started trying this keto thing, were you trying to aim towards being healthy or were you on a specific diet or just
in the last couple of years for sure?
I think it honestly is
like, and it was like same thing. I listened to a couple podcasts with people like, certain doctors that are saying stuff. I honestly think maybe even like Tom Brady got me a little sparked. I'm like, this guy's 40. He's on a paleo diet.
I have to read that book.
Yeah, like it's like I haven't read the book, but just the whole story. And granted, he has personal chefs and stuff. He can do it and pull it off.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's something to that. If you're playing the best football you've played and you're 40 years old.
Yeah, it's like insane.
It's just like he's
doing
young,
something right.
It's like insane. So when I saw stuff like that, I just started to like, that's what I got into. I got into like human optimization. Like, what can I do to, what can I eat? What can I watch? What can I, I was like, I'm going to meditate, like yoga, like all these things to just feel like a better human. And that became like my new sort of like new stoke. I was like, I want to like get into this and see how good I can feel. And if it's like, changing my mindset to do different like business moves or whatever. Like I just want to like open my mind to something else a little bit more and learn about stuff that it's interesting. It's like, your body you got one body. So it's like, there is something to like, I want to take care of it, and seeing the difference. Like now if I have McDonald's, I'm laid up. Like I can't even eat it. And I'm like, man, this is what I was putting in my body like for years.
Yeah. And you probably you're so used to feeling that way that you're just like, oh, this is how I normally feel.
Dude, like sleeping till 3 p.m, like just the worst habits. And like, I still sleep late, which sucks. But my goal is to get on like a good program of like, I get up, I do this, I go to the gym. Like Grenier's on it with stuff like that. Yep. And like JP Walker's on it with that. They're up. They have their routine. They take their things. They go to work out, and then they go snowboard. And you're just like, man, it looks structured, and it looks like they give a shit. Yeah. So I'm like trying to sort of ease into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so do you have a meditation practice or a yoga practice?
Headspace. Oh yeah, nice. I just like need. Yeah, it's even like it's hard to find 10 minutes, or 20 minutes to do it. And I like to, but my mind races the whole time, but that's part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, that you have to, it's funny because when you're meditating, you're not chasing calm or like thoughtlessness. Yeah. It's more about just understanding your mind and yourself. And, if you're racing, you're like, wow, my mind's racing. Like, this is kind of crazy. Yeah. And you notice it.
And kind of chalk it up to like your personality. And you're just like, all right, well, I'm a psychopath. Like, I'm thinking about crazy shit right now and I'm supposed to be relaxing. Like,
well, something that's really worked well for me, because I've been getting really into meditation lately. And I find that the best time, 100% hands down, and I've tried to meditate a lot in the past, but actually staying on it and doing it, for me, the best time is the second I roll out of bed. Okay. Like before I even brush my teeth, before I make coffee, before I look at my phone, ideally, because then there's nothing that's planted in your head. You wake up and you just, I take 10 minutes in the morning and my mind is so calm, and sometimes things will appear, but it's not like the bombardment. Because when I first started doing it, I wanted to still do it in the morning because I'm kind of a morning person. But I would have my cup of coffee, I'd get on my phone for a bit, do some texts, maybe some emails and stuff like that.
Don't kid yourself. You're on Instagram too.
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah. Scroll a little bit, got to get it in. But then, I'd sit down for 10 minutes and it's just like flooded, like bombarded from all sides. Yeah. But really, like, it's hard to do kind of. But not really, because you're like, oh, I have 10 minutes before I actually need to look at my phone and wake up.
No, that's epic. Like if you could start the day that way.
Yeah, it's like a great way to start the day.
A really good foot.
It's really quiet. Yeah. You just literally, I'll roll out of bed and sit in a chair and just like, all right, here we go.
So here's my experience with that. Headspace has a category called wake up, like morning wake up, meditate and like feel energized and ready for the day. So I wake up, like I got one of my big ideas, like I'm going to set my alarm. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do my Headspace. So I get up, do the thing. I sit up in my bed. Like I didn't get in a chair. I just like sat up in my bed and like put my headphones in and started listening to like the wake up one. I think it was like 15 minutes long. This was like at probably 7:45 in the morning. Yeah. I wake up and it's 1 p.m. I fell back asleep to the waking up podcast or Headspace, like this guy telling me to like get up and stretch your legs and like, or like feel like you're up and this beam of light is coming in. And then I fell back asleep till like 1 p.m. I'm like, wow, I suck at this. Like, this is like,
I think getting out of the bed is probably a good step.
I couldn't believe it though. I'm like, I listened to the
one that's supposed to wake you up.
And I fell back asleep.
That's crazy, man. That is so funny.
It's like backwards. Then I'll listen to Headspace ones about falling asleep and I'll be up all night.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I just have twisted mind with shit like that. But yeah, that was pretty funny. But no, that's great. And like Luke does it. He'll come out here, my roommate, and I'll just see him like in that chair, like doing it. And I'm like, that's what I should do. Like not be in my place of where I normally sleep. You know, I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, I think that would help too. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I got into that. I mean, dude, yoga is sick. Yoga's expensive, but it's really, really cool. Like I remember I started working with someone and he was like, I'm not going to work with you if you're not grounded. And he was just, we were working on some business stuff together, but he was like, he's so big on like being grounded and like, you know, learning where you're at in the world and things like that, that he was like, I want to work with people who appreciate being grounded and like, you got to go do yoga. Yeah. Basically, like if you want to work with me, you got to go do yoga.
Whoa.
And I was like, all right. So I went and like got a mat and I was like, all right. So, and I had to prove to him that I'd go like to 3 classes in a week or something like that. He bet me like money that I couldn't do it. And then I did it. But it was like, basically like, if I don't do it, he's not going to work with me. And then I was like, if I don't do it, I'll give you $100, you know? So I did it and felt so good. And I remember like going through, like there's some stress with the business shit, obviously. Yeah. And I remember thinking about like the thing that was stressing me out going into the class. And then halfway through the class, I was like, what was that thing I was stressed about? Because I was so focused on the poses. Yeah. You can't even focus on the other shit because you're too worried about where your freaking child's pose is or you know, like that was so cool. I was like, damn, this really works because I just need an hour to get out of my head. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just doing these silly poses with this music. And it's like, that's what I need. Then I can like, you know, get back at it or whatever. But those little breaks, they are like insanely valuable. And I worry about like underlying stress with like, I'm not stressed, but really I have like a lot of shit going on. And I'm worried about like, that being a negative thing. So I try to do as many things as I can to like relieve the stress. Yeah, it definitely is that stuff. You know, I think a lot of people go through daily life with just that layer of stress and anxiety all the time. And that over years and years is just, it's not good. And apparently that's like the number one cause for hair falling out. So, is it? So if you can avoid that, just like the low buzz, like constant stress. Crazy. Yeah. And I mean, I think we all have that though. It's such a I mean, we live in a world that it's, dude, you have to be busy. I mean, it's like good to be busy all the time and be like accomplish so much, but just got to take a step back. I mean, I've been really trying like with the meditation practice, everything to just be like, you know, look at my phone a little less, care a little bit less. Yeah. And just, has that been working for you? It has been, but I still, you know, still just sometimes I like to accomplish a lot of things and get a lot of shit done. Yeah. And, sometimes I have trouble sleeping or whatever, just because too much is going on in my head. So I'm working on it, finding my ways, but totally. I always wondered about the phone thing too, because I've taken breaks and felt so much better. You know? And there's like, I've listened to some things about the dopamine levels that get released when you look at your phone, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, man, this is like, no one knows what this is going to be like in 10 years or how bad it really could have been for you or something like that, you know? But yeah, I think all those things are awesome to shoot for. And like, you're right. It is crazy that people are like, if you're not swamped busy, then you're blowing it or like something like that, you know? But, because I'm the same way. If I'm alone, if I have nothing to do, I'm like, this is weird. I need to like figure something out to do, or like, or definitely overthink about something, you know? Yeah, I mean, you've got the snowboard brand too. Like, how do you balance that with the rest of your life? And are you still doing 1817 stuff? Yeah, we are. Yeah. So I can talk. I have pretty cool stuff with that actually. I'll just tell you, we're doing a snowboard park at Theodore Wirth. Oh, really? Yeah. So we've been keeping it pretty secret for a while, but we hired Ben Klosterman to build the whole park. No way. Cool, and man. I think, dude, right now it looks like we're going to open on Saturday. And the whole thing with 1870, it took a really interesting turn because me and Jake just have always we've always made sweatshirts and we had this like community thing, but we never really loved the idea of like selling a product. We were just like, 1817 is like kind of cooler than that. Like we don't need to sell a product and like run a sponsored ad and just do shit like that. We were like, this is not what we started this for. This is not what we want it to be. So I don't remember how it really happened, but it started with the Buck Hill thing because we did the park at Buck Hill. Yep. And we saw like the response from the kids and just like the like reach it had. Like there was kids from Japan coming. There was kids from Michigan
that's
coming.
Insane.
It was just so cool to see, whether it's under the guise of 1817 or if it's just like people just wanting to go snowboard because they knew like Tommy Gesme was going to be there, you know? But we were able to bring these people together under snowboarding and like this rope tow and just like really small things. And we just got really sparked on that. And then when it didn't happen with Buck again, we were like, can we do it somewhere else? Or like, you know, and it just literally all fell into place like perfectly. We met this guy, Anthony Taylor, who is works at the Loppet Foundation at Theodore Wirth. They're like, we're going to do snowboarding again. He got wind of it. He's like, I think I know some guys who might be good to have because they did it. And we had one meeting, and literally in one meeting, we were like, this is going to be awesome. He already ran all these programs for underprivileged kids, and it's 5 minutes from downtown Minneapolis. So he had all these programs in place with like he does like mountain biking, and he was starting to teach snowboarding lessons. And it was for people just didn't have the opportunity to learn. Like the barrier of cost is so high right now in snowboarding.
Yeah.
It's impossible to like, we even looked into it. It's like $100 or $150 for like just a day and a ticket, like a 1 day to learn at Afton.
Really?
$150. And if you go to Vail, Anthony told us it's $750 for a half day lesson.
What?
At Vail.
Dude, that is absurd.
It's absurd. It's like, it's outlandish. Like, it's just like not. So for us, we're like, how do, like, it bummed me out that a kid could see a snowboard video and be like, that looks really cool. And then go look into how much it would cost and go, well, there's no way. Yeah. I can't even ask my parents for this, or like, I can't mow enough lawns to afford this or whatever. So we were like, how do we, and that was like the way, like I always hear people talking about snowboard participation is going down. And it's like, well, it's impossible to keep up. You got to buy a fucking super expensive snowboard, bindings, boots, outerwear, just to like, then you get to the hill. Then you got to buy a lift ticket. Yeah. Or if you want to get lessons, you got to get lessons. Like, it's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
There's no free places to do it. And so we were like, how do we try to change that? So our whole plan is to offer free lessons for underprivileged kids.
What?
Free rentals for underprivileged kids.
Dude, and that is amazing.
And we're sending out mailers to like the schools in North Minneapolis to like, we'll bring buses to pick kids up and bring them there. And it's just centered around giving kids that opportunity. They might hate it, but they had maybe a fun day in the snow, and there might be a kid there who loves it, and it steers them away from maybe some bad shit that you could get into or whatever.
It's a good hobby to have once you get in there.
It's just all based. It goes back to like the gratitude. It goes back to snowboarding gave me and Jake so much, and we got an opportunity from whatever weird stars colliding that we picked it up, and it's changed our life. And it's like, we want to try to give that opportunity to someone else.
Man, that is so incredible.
Yeah.
I think anytime that you can give back with something that you've spent so much time doing, I mean, that's so cool. You're really going to change some kids' lives, I think. I mean, we
hope to, yeah. And
I'm sure there's going to be people who are able to do that who just don't ever get to do something like that. Like, that's that's a big deal. That's so cool.
Thanks. I mean, and it's just more like, just pissed at the way things went. Like, why is it $80 for a lift ticket?
Yeah.
I get that there's operation costs. I do, but like, there's no wiggle room. Like, you can't, if you're a kid who's down on your luck or broke, they're, still $80. Like, sorry. And it's not a greed thing at that point. I just want there to be another option. I just want, and our park's going to be sick. It's not going to be like top, it's not going to be a huge run. It's that one over on the backside, like where the tubing hill was.
Okay.
It's still a good size. It's like the size of that kind of the Buck Hill one. Little jibber.
That's all you need.
And that's all you need. And we're just like, we're going to try to do really cool stuff. We're going to have girls only snowboard contest. Sick. We're going to have just beginner night where no one can snowboard who hasn't ever strapped in before.
Oh, what?
And it'll be like Danimals will teach you how to snowboard.
Cool.
And we're going to try to bring in like, we're going to be just doing stuff with like local people and communities and just try to bring people together through this whole thing. And like, we just want to, that's the main thing, is just get kids out there and promote activity and promote winter activity. And I think Minnesota is one of the only places that could kind of pull off something like this. Like, it's
absolutely.
5 minutes from downtown. It's this hill. It's here. And like, so we're really excited about it.
It's right next to the city, which there's plenty of underprivileged kids there for sure.
And that's like, and Anthony has such an awesome network of people who have, like, one of Jake's friends and Anthony's friends, they're already like, yep, I got buses. I'm super down to donate my time and our buses to go pick these kids up.
Man, that's cool. So everything fell into place really well.
Yeah. And it kind of just feels like it was all kind of meant to go that way too. Like, for whatever reason, we decided to pull away from this selling thing, and we just wanted to do this a little bit more and this. And then, like, Jake works so hard and Anthony works really hard. And that, as a group, we just really meshed as a whole thing with the same vision. And it's just been so, like, positive and strong. And we're just like, it's funny because it's like all these things that, again, like, you never thought we could do something like this, but how cool that it's like coming together, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. And if it's going to open on Saturday, I think, is like the first day. And then we're going to have a grand opening probably on like the 12th. And then it'll just kind of be going. It'll be open. Oh, that's the other kind of cool thing. It'll be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just like that block. And then Wednesday will be a park rebuild. And then Thursday, we're going to bring everyone in, like all the local guys, to film like an edit on like a private park. And then we put that out as like an edit in the morning. Like, here's the new park. Like, here's these guys ripping it.
Spread the word a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be fun to give them an opportunity to have kind of like a training ground a little bit. And we can film and we can do a bunch of stuff. And like, the whole resort has been amazing with just giving us like a super long leash of like, whatever you guys want to do. Like, this, can we mess with that tree? Yeah, totally. Go mess with the tree. So it's like, there's no weird red tape to cross. And Ben's up there having fun. And like, it's been really cool.
It'll be sick to see Theater Worth back in action.
Dude, I know. For sure. Because I was a kid when it was going, you know, and it was always run so cool because it was like just a little like DIY park. And it was like, $10 for a lift ticket or whatever it was. And like, so that's the other thing too. If you get free and reduced lunch, like kids have free and reduced lunch, you get a free lift ticket as well.
Sick.
Yeah. So even if you snowboard in a little bit and you have free and reduced lunch, like you can come ride our park for free.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what might be cool? You could maybe just to, I don't know, in the same realm of things, maybe there's some dudes who have some old boards that are still rideable that they could donate.
Yeah.
Something like I would definitely donate.
That's a cool idea.
Or two or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about that. We're trying to work with just like trying to figure out how, because they have some rental boards. They have Burton boards with, with like the click out thing.
Okay,
those work really well.
Cool.
But yeah, hopefully we're trying to. That's like the goal. I know Daryl right away was like, I'll send a box of gloves for the kids.
Yeah,
and
right.
Like, everyone's super down. And that's what's so cool to see everyone's reaction is like they see, because we have like this little video that we made, me and Jake, and we have like our story, and then they hear it and they're just like, how do I get involved?
Yeah,
like,
right. It's like something that I'm like, this is a cool opportunity.
And that's what's been so sick is people are like, yeah, whatever. Like, I want to come up and just help coach, or I just want to be up there. And we're like, dude, it's what it's for. Like, everyone can be involved.
It's really cool to see it turn from something that was, you know, you did it for the snowboarding and the content and things like that, and give people a place to ride. Yeah. To take this turn to be like, oh, well, let's include everybody in this. Yeah. And let's make it like really a giving kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's kind of come full circle. Like, it even kind of started with like Eric Carl and the panic order thing that we did at Buck. Yeah. It was like these younger kids, and even that I just got really stoked on like trying to give them a little bit of a platform. And then I was like, well, why stop there? Let's try to, and hopefully like it just makes other cities go, damn, snowboarding, and they might invest in it. And like, it just kind of grows it a little bit, because I hate when people are like, participation's down, and like shops complaining about no one's buying boards. And it's like, well, let's try to do something different. Let's try to get kids to buy boards or get kids to be interested in the sport.
Yeah. I mean, something that I've thought is, I grew up riding at Elm Creek, which is like 200-foot vertical. It's literally a hill. Yeah. And think of how many places in the country that get snow that have that size hill. Yeah. Like, why not put snowboard parks everywhere? Yeah. Like, and not it'd be that easy. Then participation would go way up, have a lower barrier to entry, and
exactly. That's exactly right. So, and it's not even like you don't need a big, huge thing with the chalet. Yeah. Like, no. I mean, the goal is just like, I want it to be free. Like, I just want it to be like something that was completely free. Yeah. And that's hard to accomplish, but, but someday that could maybe, I mean, skate parks, I know there's maintenance and they have to maintain these things, which is like, there's costs with that, of course. But I think, ours is going to be $12. So it's not that much, you know? And again, if you are underprivileged and you have free and reduced lunch, and you're going to get to go for free. Yeah. And the cool side of it is like, I kind of get the pay side, because it's like, if you buy a ticket for $12, you're affording that kid who can't to go for free. So it's kind of sick that way. Like you can afford it.
Yeah.
Pay your $12. So this kid who really can't afford to go can go. Yeah. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been like we've been working on that for like 6 to 8 months now, I think. And we've done a pretty good job of some people have known, which is cool. But like, we're not trying to keep it too secret. We just didn't want to put out anything until we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. You know, cause that's the worst, like big press release. And then it's like someone just pulls the plug on it.
You don't want to under deliver.
No.
Sure.
So we put something up today of like me and Jake, we just set up a rail the other day with Joey Peterson. We just like did like a trick on it. And then it was like, just to show that we're actually doing something. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Are all the rails going to be painted?
Yeah. Like, sick, they're black and green, and we got these cool signs, and it's pretty DIY. And Ben's idea for the park sounds really cool, with like a big berm that like banks around to get back on the rope, like not one that like snowboarders build, like you know, by turning. It's like he wants to put in like a big banked turn to like pump that and get back on the rope.
Yeah. Kind of like Mont du Lac style.
Yeah. But do they build theirs like?
Yeah,
with a
it's
cap?
It's like a full on big. It's smart. The best way to get onto a rope, because then you don't mess your clubs up.
Well, they get formed naturally by like ripping in everyone in the same spot, but like this one, just build a big bank wall and turn.
It really it's really makes a difference.
Yeah.
So you got public going on. You got the 1817 thing going on. Yeah. You definitely still have a career as a snowboarder. Is there anything else that's really like occupying your time, or those are kind of like your main things?
I thought there was like one more. Oh yeah, I'm kind of helping maybe with some like team manager stuff, like just kind of helping the brands I'm riding for.
Oh, nice.
Try to like help get some of the right dudes on. Like we got Snakes on L1.
Oh, sick. He's like perfect.
Yeah, just things like that, like where it's like I want to be a little bit more than just a team rider at certain brands. So I kind of came onto L1 as like team rider, but like, if I can help, like I'll try to help as much as I can. Fix was the same way. Like I am just kind of like a little bit of a voice on who's kind of getting on, or some cool ideas for a trip or something like that. Like trying to take a little more of a role there with a couple of the brands that I ride for. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's fun. And then but other than that, it's like those are kind of my main things right now.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. And are you working out these days, or do you have like a workout routine or anything like that? Yeah,
I mean, I try to go. If I'm on a good program, I'll go like every other day.
Oh, nice.
And I just kind of do a mixed match of just whatever I'm doing. I do like a lot of sit-ups, and then I do Bosu ball. Like I'll do like one-legged squats in the Bosu ball on my bad knee. Yeah. And everything I just do like in threes. Like I'll do like three of these sit-ups, and then 10, but in a set of 3. Like that whole round 3 times. Okay. And then I'll do like some arm curls and some shoulder shrugs, and just try to go every other day, and then just do like a full body thing. And then I've kind of gotten psyched on rowing.
Oh yeah.
Lately.
Cool.
It's kind of cool. Like it's a pretty good workout. And then just try to like break a sweat and get my blood moving. And then I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Like an hour or something. And then I've been sitting in the sauna a little bit more too, and then like I did it today, and then I just noticeably like I just feel better. Yeah. And then it's almost like I accomplished something for the day already. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, not like I can fuck off, but I can be like, well, I mean, I don't have to like go and I don't know, jump on the bike. I did my workout, know, and I can kind of like
you can kind of ease off a little bit. Yeah. And that's another thing that definitely can stress me out is if I don't get some kind of exercise, or
you just start to feel like a pile. You're just like, God, like, and
even if you like did a bunch of exercise the day before or something, or you're going to tomorrow, you just like, I get kind of like, I need to do something. But when you have that and you get it done, you're like, all right. Yeah. I'm like the days when I was swimming, training for the triathlon, I would swim from 6 to 7 a.m. Yeah. So it, like early as hell. Like it kind of sucked waking up that early, but I would do it. It would kick my ass, and I would be done at 7. I was on like a swim team, so it was like actual drills and everything like that. I'd be done at 7, and I'd be like, dude, I don't need to do all anything, brother. I feel great. And
it's funny how it extra motivates you. You know what? Maybe I will go bike a little bit, or like you're all sparked, like you just like feel like you can do anything. Yeah. Like even today, I got back, and it was like an hour after I got back, and I was like almost like I felt like I had to go like I wanted to go snowboard or something because I felt like I hadn't done anything, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I was like just at the gym. Like, so it's like, it's definitely cool to have that like reaction to it. You're just like, it's proof, like action. You just like, you want to do more. If you just stay in if you do nothing, you're so used to doing nothing. So nothing seems like fine. Mm-hmm. Then when you go out and actually do something, it seems like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just try to not fall into too many ruts, but I've been in some crazy ruts where like, for some reason, I'm just like, today's the day I'm going to the gym. And then I get like 3 emails or something and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like 5. And then I'm like, I'll go like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, that goes on for
it's crazy
days in a row. I'm like,
how much time can go by when you just get caught up in that one little thing. Yeah. You're like, all of a sudden it's late.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, like now it's like, my day is usually like, I try to, if I'm going to do it, I like to go in the morning now. I actually used to go at night a lot because I just hate going with a bunch of people in the gym. Yeah. I just hate it. Like,
I feel you.
I'm not Johnny Flex Fest. Like these guys, it's just like, I get it. I'm stoked that they have like their outlet, but you don't have to look at me while you're doing your barbell thing. Like, I feel like it's just like it's just crazy sometimes there. And like in the showers and the sauna, I'm just like, get me out of here. Like, this is like the worst. But, I just want to, I just do my little thing and then I get out of there. But I try to go every other day now, or if I can. And then I come home and do computer work. And then usually like some phone calls and maybe some couple conference calls. But dude, honestly, like I enjoy that stuff. Like that's not even work for me. Yeah. Like, talking about this park with Jake and Anthony is like,
especially because all this stuff, it's a lot of it is stuff that you've kind of built up. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, well, let's do this.
Yeah. And like you're talking about a new snowboard graphic for a snowboard company that you started that you never thought you'd start, you know? So it's all like, it is taking that step back and being like tripped out by that too, you know? And like the things that we're discussing, I never would have thought we would have discussed, you know? We just wanted to get boards made and off the ground. And now we're sitting there talking about like these crazy conversations about who we're going to work with or do, you know, who we're talking to, all this kind of cool shit.
It's become like a legit, real fucking brand.
It's
like
close.
I mean, I don't know. I see it a lot, you know, I see a lot of people riding it and it like the graphics have been incredible.
Thank you.
Very
That's Josh Manolas.
Distinct.
Yeah. Josh has done such a good job.
It's like does color so well. And I mean, from the outside, it looks like things are really moving.
Yeah, and they are, and we're just like, we're really stoked on where we're at. Like it's like, I think it may be my competitive side where it's like, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it well and try at it and stuff like that. So we're always kind of like head down, like, this is cool, but let's keep going, you know, like stuff like that. Like we put a lot of money back into the company and we just like want it to grow on its own and be, you know, it needs to grow at a pace that's manageable. Yeah. Like we're not trying to grow where all of a sudden we have way too much overhead. It's just going to kill us.
Yeah, that's smart.
We're trying to manage it. I'm making sure that these guys are taken care of that have been there for us and they're paid first, you know? And me as an owner, like it'll come down the road, but I want to make sure that everyone involved is felt that way, you know? Mm-hmm. And our team is like fucking awesome.
The team's sick. Like you got some cool dudes on there.
I'm really stoked on our team. And that was a really fun part too. Just building a team is cool. Yeah. Like just those conversations of like, you want to ride for us? And like, what does that mean for you? And like, I just love that shit. And it's just like cool to see those guys. Like when Bradshaw got on, that was a big deal. Oh yeah. That he would like take a chance with us, you know? And it was just those conversations of just like me just being like, dude, I know it's crazy. Like, but let's do this. This would be so sick. And like, and to have it happen and work out has been amazing. So yeah, man, I'm stoked on where it's at. I'm really grateful for all the people that help us. I'm grateful for all the people that bought a board. Like anytime I see a kid at the resort, I'm just like, this is crazy. Where'd you buy that? Like, you know, why'd you buy that? Like I'm just trying to learn about like what speaks to them.
Like what motivates them to really want that.
Yeah. Because, and then I manage the Instagram. I answer every question that comes through. Every DM is answered by me.
That's awesome.
Every email to the company is answered by me.
Cool.
And I just like to have that type of touch on it. I don't want to ever be bigger than that where like someone's answering the questions for me. Yeah. Like I always want to be doing that. And kids will be like, I know you're never going to see this, but, and then I'm like right back in like 2 minutes. I'm like, dude, I was on my phone just like you. Like,
and they're probably so hyped too.
Yeah. It's just like cool if you can talk to a kid and they have a question about a board and you can direct them to a shop and they go and buy it. Like, how cool is that? Like, you got to talk to the owner and you got those facts on it. And then it's like, any more questions? Like, no. And then it's like, well, where do you live? And then they hit up the shop and they go buy one. Like,
that's sick.
That's why I started the brand. It's like, I wanted it to be that close of a connection to like a brand.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anything out there like that at the time. Like, I just didn't see people, they're big brands. Like, I get it, but I just wanted to be like, I wanted a kid to, if he mowed a lawn, if he saved up to buy a board, I wanted him to feel like he was putting it towards something that he was kind of a part of,
Yeah, and something that you can see and sense, and the fact that you're answering the Instagram and the emails, it's like, it's a real tangible thing that is happening. It's not some big corporation.
Exactly. And it's like,
it's interesting.
Yeah, like the warehouse is at Nick's house. Like we're trying to have we're just trying to stay low overhead. Like it just doesn't make sense for us to go and buy a big space right now. And like, there's all these things that I want to do, but they'll come with time, we're still fairly new. It feels like a long time. It's only been 4 years. Yeah. It's like just now being our 4th year, which for a lot of businesses is like sort of just still really early stages. So
4 years in, has it been easier or harder than you were expecting?
There's been a lot of just ups and downs, man. Like when we started under the like ultimate umbrella with Stepchild, and that's kind of how that whole thing started. And then from there, we separated ways. So there's just always been kind of like an up and down. It's always been good. Like the brand has always been really good. And like the biggest thing for me is like shipping on time. So last year we were like one of the first brands to ship on time in stores. What? That was sick to beat like big brands out. Like I was like really, really proud of that.
That's good. I think snowboard culture could have some punctuality. The snowboard industry, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't want to ever be like, well, we're just a small brand. Like you get it. Like we're just run by some dirtbags, and it's like, yeah, we are to an extent, but like I want to be like I want people to know that
you want the shop owners to be like, oh yeah, these guys really care about this, and they're really doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we shipped on time. We were like one of the first boards to ship on time this year. And harder, easier. There's always new challenges. Yeah. It's like, dude, when it started, it was what are we going to do for our first graphic? And now there's just more that comes with it every time. Like what dealers do we want to open? Like, do we want to grow in this territory? Like, like, do we want to, and then it's like, do we do a movie? Do we do all these kind of things, like that you want to do? And it's new stuff, but it's always like a really fun challenge. Like, there's times I get really stressed because I just want to still just do a good job. And I feel like now we have guys that are relying on us. Like, I want to do a good job so Ben Bilodeau can fucking get a cool board to ride and like look sick and keep supporting him. And
sick.
I want to have Craig on a cool board that he's stoked on. And there's just like things like that. Like we have such a cool team, and I feel like these guys have a really strong connection to it as well. So I want them to be, I want to be there for them. Like anytime the team texts, I try to text back like within like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Like if I get it, like, yeah, like I don't want to ever be the guy that's like, I can't get a hold of Joe and this sucks. Yeah. Cause you've been through that too.
Yeah.
Team managers, certain dudes, like they're hard to get a hold of. And there's like, you get this weird like anxiety around it. I want them to be like, hit me up for anything, Yeah.
Just know that you're there.
And tell them like what we can do and what we can't do. Like, I try to like, I'll just write like a check and just be like, here's what we got for a little bit of dough right now. Thanks for everything you've done. And then it's like, I want to just do things like that to just let them know I care. Let them know I appreciate everything they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so starting a brand and seeing it grow year after year, things like that, how has that impacted just your outlook on life generally? I mean, now that you've got something that you can't really just, the wheel is rolling and you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
Has it structured your life any differently, or like made you really think certain things are important, or, overall impact? Like how's it affected you?
100%. It gave my life more structure. Like it gave, instead of, how it is when I was just a pro, like when I said like I was 26, my only job was to film a video part in a 3-month span. And then I could literally do whatever I want. Yeah. I skate all the time, partying a lot. It was just like, and it was sick, but at the same time, I wasn't really bettering myself at all. I was just being a snowboarder. Once that's done, what what do I have, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a light bulb, like, I got to figure this out. It's just the things took place. Like I did 1817. I got more involved with 1817. I was like, damn, I'm learning about margins and how to do these things. And I'm like, okay, like we have distributors. We're working with this. Like I'm just subconsciously learning about this stuff because I'm selling some sweatshirts. Yeah. And then it was just like this opportunity came and I was like, it just felt right. And it was more like I just had to I didn't want to sit there and think about how to do it. I just wanted to dive in. And I was like, all right, I'm doing a board brand, I guess. And it was like, I'll learn it all as I go. And so that's been a little bit tough, is like learning it all as you go. Like, and it's not as easy as just like, I'll figure it out. Like, dude, you need to have a plan and you need to have like a lot of things thought through, or it's a quick process for you, you know? But we've had to like do things that are gnarly. Like boards are going to be late, so we have to airship them, and it costs like $13,000 to do that. So there's just stuff you're like, well, if we want this company to keep going, we have to do this. Otherwise we're late and we ship end of January and no one cares, and we just screw ourselves for the following year. Yeah. So there's all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd say, you know, in general, like learning so much, and even just like getting to meet new people through it. Like, you know, working with magazines, working on these trade shows, working on like these board graphics, learning about the process of building a board, the process of how the graphics work, and how to work with people on projects too. Like, dude, it's insane. Yeah. I really enjoy it. And every time it's like, it just challenges you to learn something you never learned. You're just kind of diving in and like, yeah, I don't know how to talk to a distributor about this thing, but I'm going to try to figure it out, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd say it definitely has changed my life, but for the positive.
That's great.
Yeah. To the point where it's like, maybe I'm like a little bit too ambitious, where I'm like, I want to start another thing. And I feel like we've almost started like 4 things in the process, just because.
I believe it. I mean, you've got everything lined up. You're like, oh, well, now we could do another thing.
What about this? Yeah. Like we've just thought, like, I've just been like, because that is the most fun part, is like the spark of an idea to like someone doing like the logo, and like then you're like gonna figure out how you're gonna like roll it out and launch this thing, and you see people like kind of talking about it, like, did you hear like, I love that stuff when you hear about people like doing something. You're like, you get like little whispers of it, and it's just like, I think that shit's sick. Like hearing someone's gonna start their own thing or has an idea or something like that is a really fun part of it.
Ever since I had the idea to do this podcast and going through the whole process of like having Luke make the logo,
like,
and
that stuff's and you see it physically on the paper, and you're like, this is my idea, this is my podcast, this is what I wanted the art to turn out like. And then you're just like,
and then when I saw it on iTunes, I was like, dude, whoa, now I actually have a podcast. This is kind of crazy.
Exactly.
Like, but it, you know, it feels cool, and it's I mean,
but you didn't go to podcast school. You just decided to do it, and you listened to a bunch.
Spent the time to learn it, and just like kind of grinded for a while to get it figured out, and now it's just running, and here we are. So. Yeah,
but that's the number one thing I'd say. Like I would try to do. Like, I'm just so sick of people talking about doing stuff. Yeah, so just go do it. Yeah, just don't talk about how much you want to do this someday. Just go try it, or like start the process of doing it. You know, because you're just going to look back and you'll be 2 years behind of where you would have been if you just did it then, you know?
Totally.
But yeah, I think it's cool when people do that. Like you're just like, you're doing that triathlon and shit. You're just like, I want to do this for me. And you just go out and do it. Yeah. It's rad. Yeah. Instead of like sitting there and tweeting about, I want to do a triathlon someday. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah. And something that's kind of interesting about that, and about just doing things on my own, I think one of the biggest influences on allowing me to do that and like giving me the confidence to do that has been just relocating a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, I moved to Salt Lake for a year, and then I moved to LA, and I've had to kind of figure out, you know, you have to figure out a new life in a way, and meet new people and try new things. Yeah. And for me, it always, every time it's kind of built my confidence up a little bit. And so now I'm like, oh, if I want to do this, all I have to do is just go, and then you figure it out. So yeah,
totally. No. And that's cool. Like, but that's impressive too. It's like, not everyone has that in them. Like, there's people who never left their hometown. Yeah. And it might be super happy, you know, but like there's people who are in their hometown and bitter and I
Exactly.
got a bad deal and like fucking this guy fucked me over and that's why I'm here. It's like,
or
all
like
that
people,
stuff,
a lot of times people think that, or they'll sit around and complain about their life without realizing that you really can do something about it. Like you absolutely, all you have to do is do it.
I got friends, like certain friends who just like hate their job, like hate it. And all they do is talk about hating it. And I'm like, there's no one with a gun to your head. Just quit.
Yeah.
Just
figure
quit.
something else out.
You could literally quit your job tomorrow. Yeah. Like you'd be nice to give them 30 days notice or whatever they want, but like you could just quit and you could figure this out. And isn't that at least a change? And maybe you'll be taking the steps to being happier. Yeah. Instead of just in this rut of like, you know, this sucks. Yeah. Try something else and maybe it'll be fun. It might suck more. Yeah. But then you know that this one wasn't that bad. Or I just am big on like just seeing the change and being like, all right, well, what did I learn from that? And it turns into other shit. 1817, a clothing company, is now basically like a nonprofit. Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah, but, just because you rode the wave.
We're just going with it.
Exactly.
And this is what we want to do. And we've all changed and grown. And this is where we see it now. Yeah. You know? So I think that's the number one thing is people just, not people, just whoever is complaining. It's just like, you can totally make a change.
And it's scary. Like
totally scary.
I mean, when I moved to LA, I was like, well, what the hell am I doing? Moving to LA, it was terrifying. Yeah. But I was like, well, if I hate it and if this sucks, then I can always go back to Utah or I can go back to Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's like,
but you're right. Like that it jars something that you're like, all right, well, we got to figure this out. Yeah. There's no options.
Yeah. Like if you quit your job and you're like, oh, but then now I don't have any money. You're like, well, I got to figure something out then. I got to start working towards something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
But cool. Well, is there anything else that is really important in your life that either keeps you centered or keeps you healthy or keeps your head straight with all these different things you got going on?
I think just family, you know, family's close. My dad's in business and I like to talk with him about ideas and things like that. It's just like, cool. I'm just trying to do things like I said, like, I think the thing that's keeping me centered is to like trying to have, I guess, a positive impact on like what I've done with this like career or something. Like I look at like the pro snowboarders before me who had amazing careers and went on to create really cool brands. And really, with that, they're giving back, you know, like Daryl at Howell is like a great example. Like, that's just like, to me, like an awesome way to do a career, you know, have an amazing, he's still filming video parts. Yeah. And that's what's inspiring too. But he's like, runs Howell and he has so much passion for it and that kind of thing. And then Howell, it's like seeing kids with the glove, like all those little things that you see, like as a community thing, when they're really like connecting with something, like that's cool. And to try to like, I just want to have a positive impact like that, you know? And I want our message to be more about like, inclusive, like nothing exclusive. Like I just want them to feel like they have like a voice, you know? That's all. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
So I think the stuff, I mean, that was kind of a tangent. The stuff that keeps me centered is just like, dude, public keeps me centered and like, just, I work with my friends on it and it's fun to work on. This 1817 project has been amazing. That keeps me centered. I think just these projects that we get going, I think is what keeps me centered and going. Like, I don't want to retire. Yeah. I want to just keep doing stuff, you know? Yeah. That and just trying to lead a little bit more of a positive life, you know? And that's sort of like trying to not be I don't want to talk shit, you know? Like all that stuff's just negative. And like, admittedly, when I was a young kid, I would like, that was how I would handle like competition. And so I'd talk shit and I'd just be like, I'm just like, that's so lame. So I'm just trying to like learn and just like have more empathy for a lot of things and just try to be a better, nicer person.
That's great.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
That's pretty much it.
Cool. Well, it's so cool to see how you've turned your snowboard career into, I mean, you're still doing it and you've created all these other things. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with 1817 and all that. And like I said, I looked up to you when I was young and you've been a big inspiration to me and you still are. And it's just so cool to see your hands in so many different things and really like you're creating your own life, you know, you're building it from the ground up. And I think a lot of people will find that inspiring. So
yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot. And it's like, I'm not doing it for any sort of like pat on the back for that. It's just literally like the way things shook out. And I've just tried to like go with my gut on everything that's going on. Like something didn't feel right, you don't do it. And if something feels right and you get excited about it, they have that little like spark, then it's like, dude, you got to just go try it and just see. And it's like, I just think that's been how it's kind of gone. And now that I've seen that, I just want to do more, you know, and just keep doing more and just do more shit. That's pretty much it. Yeah. But I appreciate that. It's really nice of you to say. And I'm just really, again, just grateful for just what everything snowboarding's given me, you know? So I'm stoked.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing all these amazing stories.
Dude, thanks for, not having me. You came over to my house, but
thanks for having me over. Thanks for being on the podcast.
I'm honored, man. I was stoked you asked me, and it's fun to tell those stories. And I look forward to I'll listen to all your other ones.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. What a good dude and a great conversation. I had so much fun talking with Joe, and I'm sure you guys gained a lot of insight into his life and just into, going through the process of being a professional snowboarder. And I just want to cover now a few things that came up in the interview. First of all, a Bosu ball. It is basically, those big exercise balls that you see in a lot of gyms and places. Sometimes people just sit on them as chairs. They're those big, bouncy, inflatable balls. Well, basically, a Bosu ball is one of those cut in half with a hard platform on one side. So it's a platform that you can stand on or do different balancing things on that gives you another layer of instability. It works on your core, and it helps with proprioception, which is understanding where your body is in space. It's easy to use for exercises like push-ups, squats, planks, and mountain climbers, and anything else that's pretty simple like that. It's usually best with body weight exercises. And next we have acupuncture, which is a very complex modality, and I can't really explain it in full, but basically it has to do with energy patterns in the body. It's based in Chinese medicine and qi, which is the flow of energy everywhere in the universe. But on a more scientific side of things, it can the needles that are put into acupoints or acupuncture points, it basically stimulates the body to regulate its own function. And it focuses the brain's attention by giving specifically located signals, and it can treat multiple conditions, anything from pain to disease, and even getting better sleep. And apparently multiple treatments can reinforce these new signals to the brain. And there are hundreds of acupuncture points, and I really encourage anybody who is looking for any sort of alternative treatment to anything to at least take a peek into acupuncture, maybe even talk to an acupuncturist, because it was one thing that has definitely worked for me in the past. For me, it was pain and kind of rerouting my muscular system in my knee to work more properly. Man, I can't talk right now. Anyways. Next, we have gyrostim therapy, which is very crazy looking. If you look it up online, it looks like some kind of space training device where you're sitting in a chair that's rotating in all kinds of different directions, and you have to hit these targets with a laser. And it apparently is a modality for vestibular stimulation, which is the input that your body receives when you experience movement or gravity. And according to gyrostim.com, They use it for treating mild to severe traumatic brain injuries, cerebral palsy, autism, developmental disabilities, PTSD, Parkinson's disease, MS, stroke, and many other neurological conditions. Very interesting stuff. It is also even used for athletes who want to improve cognition and just physical abilities. Apparently, it can help with decisiveness, mental clarity, stimulating awareness, and reaction time. So that's pretty cool as well. Anyways, thanks for listening to the show. And if you're liking these little tidbits of information at the end, let me know. I'm not sure if I want to keep doing them or not. But I figure if I do just 3 every episode, can kind of start to learn about all kinds of different things that you don't know too much about and don't feel like looking up yourself. So hit me up at boardbagstudio@gmail.com or on Instagram at boardbagstudio, or even my personal Instagram at JediPauls. I hope to hear from you guys. And if not, hope to see that you keep listening. I'm really grateful for all you guys out there, everybody who listens. And until next time, have a great day, a great weekend, great week, everything. Thanks a lot. See you later.